Welcome to Manga Machinations! This is episode number 565, and we are starting part 2 of our Buddha retrospective. I'm Dakazu, and with me is Star Fox 8,
Hello, everybody.
Morgana Santilli,
Hi there.
and Seamus2389.
Hello.
Is that baby Avery I hear?
Aubrey, yeah. He's feeling attached to mommy tonight, so he's
Aw.
hanging out with me for a little bit.
How cute. Okay, we have a lot of things to get to today, and we're starting a bit late. But I will mention that this episode is being recorded live on our YouTube, youtube.com/MangaMacTV. I actually forgot to pull up the stream, so I'll have to do that. But while I do that, let me thank our coffee supporters. If you want to financially support Manga Machinations, please buy us a coffee. Head over to ko-fi.com/mangamac. And you too can be a supporter like Philip, Mangamachu, Vicky Dalton, Lulu, A. Liz, 8E8, Chris from Canada, Deluid, Mia, Wyatt, Dr. Meltface, Poor Mexican 72, Liquidus 002, Extine, Jen, Neptic, Shirley Bossycat, and Tama Gamer. Thank you all so much for supporting Manga Machinations. Okay. Oh, I see that Bunny cartoon is in the chat. I was watching Dawn beat Final Fantasy VII Rebirth last night. She streamed for like 6 hours straight.
Oh my goodness.
I think somebody had mentioned it's like, oh yeah, you got a little shy of 2 hours left. And no, it did not happen. That final boss was a dick.
Video games are long.
Yep. But it was a fun stream. People should go check out her Twitch. That's twitch.tv/bunnycartoon. Okay, next, I have an email from our friend Chris from Canada. And his email is titled, "You Got No Edge Like Me." Hey Team Mangamac. I've had a few experiences over the years where people tell me they like reading or watching fucked up anime, shows, and books, comics, manga. They explain that they watch usually dumb ecchi crap or stuff like Dark Gathering and call it crazy. One of my managers at my new job is a prime example of that. I usually tell them to go read stuff like Freesia and DeadTube if they think they can handle edgy and twisted stuff. Do you all have off-the-cuff recommendations you give people that really like the edgy and messed up stuff? I just know Seamus is going to have something good up his sleeves. Your friend from up north, Chris from Canada, peace. Ooh. Thank you for your email, Chris. Well, Seamus, how do you reply to Chris? Do you have something messed up your sleeves?
Give me a second there. I need to try and find this volume.
Volume.
I was gonna say anything by Suihiro Maruo. Or you could do Lychee Light Club. Those are weird. I say that, I've not read Lychee Light Club.
Lychee Light Club is... yeah, it's kind of like, I would say, medium level messed up. Compared to his more like very intense stuff, like Ultra Gash Inferno. That's a 10.
Yeah.
Who's the manga artist that...
The one I was going to say, there's a new book by him, Beautiful Monster by Break
Yeah.
Press. That's what I was looking for.
Suihiro Maruo. Yeah, I've heard Beautiful Monster is absolutely insane. There's a lot of scat, guys.
I haven't read it, but I flicked through it and I was like, yeah, there's that fucked up section. Oh, do you know what? Although I don't know how easy it is to even get his stuff these days. Al Columbia, if you can get the Prim and Francie stuff. Or Pim and Francie, hold on.
Like Albert Columbia?
Like Al Columbia was...
I guess my question is, like, what is the level of messed up we're talking here? Are we talking about body horror? Are we talking about, like, body fluids?
Yeah, it's
Are we
just
talking about torture?
that's really subjective, right? Because if somebody gave me a picture, like a picture or a comic where somebody head explodes, that wouldn't phase me. But somebody like drinking urine or something like that, or I'd be like, what am I looking at right now? you know?
Yeah, and I think it's also different between mediums. Like, I can read the most messed up things in comic manga form, and I will barely bat an eye because I've basically seen it all. But ask me to sit through a jump scare in a movie, and I would scream.
Right. Yeah, I can't do physical violence in movies the same way I can in comic form. Like people getting injured on film for some reason is an ick that I can't get over. In live action, I should say. Sometimes in animated film, but usually I'm okay with that. Maybe because it's obviously not real.
Okay, there is a digital version. Pim and Francie, the Golden Bear Days. They're like two kids. But I think at one point, she's like 10 years old, and I think she's miscarrying her brother's child, and he's like looking on as it's happening, and like
Oh
the
yeah.
fetus is like coming out of her.
You know, just some lighthearted stuff.
Yeah, like if you want like fucked up shit, and he's got this kind of like cartoony art style. There's a lot like just stuff like even the way they're drawn looks kind of like disturbing. But like it is just a load of it's not even like stories. It's like someone's like one or two. Like I haven't read it in years. I think because I have it in Ireland. But like if you want to read like but it's like and some of it's just like a page with like this is just some like disturbing looking stuff. Actually, because the brother says something in the moment. It's like you bitch or something. Are you whore? I can't remember what he says to her as she's like miscarrying their child. But yeah, there you go now. If you want to like read something disturbing. I guess it's like how disturbing do you want
Yeah.
is the question.
I feel like most people who's like, oh, I like to read like messed up stuff. Mean like Berserk, like a really like famous and good series that has like a lot of violence and like sexual assault and like that kind of stuff that's a little bit common in media. Most like vocal edgelords probably don't know who like the Lychee Light Club guy is. I feel like you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. There's a Spanish movie called In a Glass Cage. It's very good. Quite disturbing because it's like also like Prim and Frenzy involves kids and like Nazism and like Spanish fascism. But it's a great movie. They showed it here as part of like Bleat Week as like a midnight showing in a small theater, and I was like, yeah, this is the real bleak stuff. Once you start involving kids, that's when it gets really bleak. Which
Yeah.
would also, I guess, equate to disturbing.
Speaking of kids.
Yeah.
The timing of
yeah.
Aubrey.
I was gonna say Chris was right. You had some good suggestions there, and it is pretty funny to like listen to this conversation and then in my other ear hear my son singing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star." like
Aww.
it's some cognitive dissonance here.
I feel like a lot of people when they're like they want fucked up stuff. It's like, oh, it's really violent and stuff. But it's like, yeah, but that's not really that fucked up. It's like
No.
situation that is the fucked up stuff. Like I would say, there's like a Ringo Lam movie called like School on Fire. That is a fucked up movie because that movie is like, here are all these teenagers. They are fucked, and this movie is under 2 hours, and we're going to see that really they're probably just better off killing themselves. It's basically an indictment of like Hong Kong in the 1980s, and how it's basically failing like an entire generation. Like a lot of people in Hong Kong got really pissed off at that movie because they found it like what it implied about them to be very disturbing to their sense of worth. I think that's like probably one of the best things he did, and it is a very disturbing movie when you like are like Jesus, like this is hopeless. Like you might as well, there's nothing here. Like there's no future. People bring up there's like a Russian movie from the 1980s called Come and See, where you're following this kid in like World War II, and he basically sees German soldiers running around like, filing a bunch of people into a building, setting them on fire, murder, rape. It's like considered like the anti-war film or like a really good anti-war film because it is just like whatever 2.5 hours of just like it's just like there's nothing good here. Just like a horrible situation to be in.
What was that Troy Hart movie where they had like the animal abuse in it? About
Oh,
like
Dangerous Encounters of the First Kind. Yes, that is also a There Is No Hope for the You to Hong Kong movie.
yeah, but that one was like explicitly about like some sort of protest or something that I wasn't aware of because the movie kind of like made it explicit at the end. But like that whole movie was just like nasty and gross, and I'm pretty sure they kill a cat in the production of that movie. And so it's just
Or rat. An animal was definitely killed. Oh, do you know what a movie I actually just saw last weekend? It's called Wake and Fright. And the reason it comes to my mind is it's set in the outback in Australia, but there's like one bit where the character gets drunk and goes around hunting kangaroos at night. And so the people made in the film actually got actual footage of kangaroos being hunted at night, being like gunned down. Because if you shine a light on them, they freeze. So they just followed a load of drunk Australians like killing kangaroos in the middle of the night and stuck it in the movie. That is a disturbing movie because the entire movie is like he goes to this town, and people in the right town are very nice to you as long as you drink. Effectively, like he's there for like 4 days, constantly drinking and like enjoying the whole situation more and more. Coming from Ireland, it was definitely like, yeah, this is like maybe not well, a greatly exaggerated version of Irish society. But there's a core of truth there that I guess is also true in Australia when it comes to society's relationship with alcohol.
just
I don't know, is it as it's fairly disturbing. I feel it's like to me the good disturbing stuff is stuff that is like less about violence and more about like shining lights on aspects of society in a way where you're like, Jesus, this doesn't look good.
Yeah, I don't think that's what Chris is asking for. But I agree. I actually sometimes find those harder. Like they're better because they make you think, but I find them harder sometimes to process.
I feel like Chris's recommendation in his email about Frisia is good, although that is not officially licensed. Don in chat pointed out the manga artist I was thinking of, which is Shintaro Kago. You guys remember the fingernails from Super Dimensional Love Gun?
no, but I don't want to remember.
I was looking at some of his stuff today, and I was like, have I read this guy before? I was like, I'll look it up and come back and buy it later. But yeah, I was like,
yeah, he does really interesting stuff with like body horror.
what was the? Oh God, the guy Starfruit Books published him.
Ishihino?
Yes, because we read 2 of them. There was like the pigs one. What was the one we read more recently, like last year?
Oh, Panorama of Hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing book. Yeah, the only like really disturbing movie I've heard about is a Serbian film. Have you seen that, Seamus?
No, it doesn't seem that interesting.
Okay. It's just like
it's like it's like torture porn. It's like that's just
boring, that's basically what it is, and it's extreme.
Well, there was the whole. It was like, was it like during 2000s stuff with like the French extreme movies? Is it that was like a whole thing. I don't know if that's still
like
happening. But yeah, like
there's
a lot of movies.
One. Martyrs. That was like I say that one because I feel like that one. Should I don't know. Do I want to watch a Serbian film? I don't know.
I don't watch that. Just read the synopsis on Wikipedia. I fucking just scanned through that back when I heard about that film, and I was like, oh my god, I will never watch this movie.
I will say there's like a load of like Japanese. They're effectively like softcore porn movies. They're called like Pinko movies. But the way it worked was they were like 80 minutes long, and all you had to do was do 5 sex scenes, get it under time and under budget, and you were kind of allowed to do whatever the fuck you wanted around that. So it led to like a lot of very good, very disturbing movies. Because again, they're like, well, now we can like, what's a good example? There's like one called like Go Go Second Time Virgin, about this teenager sees this girl being raped in the upstairs roof of his apartment, And I think he was also somehow abused by his parents who like committed suicide in front of him. And
Sounds
it's
like
kind
a
of
charming film.
it's yeah. There's a lot of them out there. I've only watched a few, and they're all the ones I've watched are all like very good, but also disturbing. Like one of them is like these couple who listen to a radio station describing a sexual assault and murder, and you're not quite sure, is it real? Are they like making people do it? Is it all in people's imagination? What was that called? Brain Sex is the name of it. That's not a good one. There's also one called like Woman Horse Beach, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah, I guess, my thing is, Chris brought up DeadTube, and like I hate that manga. I think it sucks ass.
Yeah, wait, what is DeadTube? Because you mentioned some other manga as well. I was like, I've never heard of these.
DeadTube is still running in Japan. It's basically this teenager gets sucked into doing like running a DeadTube account. So it's like YouTube, but it's like snuff films. And he's a sicko who like, gets sexually aroused by like this stuff. Just bad shit happens to everybody.
Oh, I've got one, a novel, Dennis Cooper Sluts. You just reminded me of it.
Great! I'm so glad.
That's reassuring.
No, the framing device is it's like an old like kind of online form, like an IRC kind of channel thing, and it's all about people reviewing male prostitutes in a part of LA, and there's like this one person that everyone starts talking about. You're not quite sure like how much is real, how much is people's extremely graphic and violent fantasies. Oh, do you know what? There's one I just read actually.
Here's how shocking in one of these.
Like, I don't know, like I have like an interest in like, but like to me, it's not the violent stuff. It's more the like very uncomfortable stuff because I've just like this thing has very little violence, but it's called it's by Megan Abbott. Hold on.
Once Seamus is done explaining this, I kind of want to pick his brain on why he's interested.
It's called Megan Abbott, The End of Everything. So it's set in like 1980s Michigan. She's a crime writer. I only heard about. Do you know what you need to look up, Chris? Live at the Deck Factory. It's a podcast. I don't think they do too many episodes anymore. They do them kind of infrequently, but like they look at a lot of these movies, and like there's one called Red Room. It was like this Montreal movie. I haven't seen it yet, but it's like this woman who she's like in like the kind of the dark web stuff where you can buy snuff films, and she's interested in a trial of this person who's accused of some involvement with snuff films, some guy. She's like looking into him, and she meets this woman who thinks he's innocent. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but they covered it I think last year, and like I was going to actually go see it here, but I wasn't around the day it was actually been shown here. But it's called The Red Room. But no, sorry, The End of Everything. It's about this girl and her friend. They're like 13 years old in like some suburbs outside Michigan. Basically, her friend goes missing one day. Her friend's name is Evie. She gets kidnapped by this guy. And it's a very disturbing book because it's kind of, how would I put this right? About the fantasies that maybe 13-year-old girls have about grown-up men, and how that can lead to some fairly dark places for them.
Ooh.
About this one girl, when her friend gets kidnapped, realizing some of this. It's not graphic in terms of her friend is raped. It is never described. She does talk about it very briefly in one page, but like the atmosphere, you're like reading about this girl and you're like, Jesus, like you are walking into a situation that is like, you live in this system that is like so fucked up. You've totally bought into it. And like you have a romantic expectation of a lot of the stuff where it's just like, it is disturbing on a, what would you call it? Not emotional level. I don't know, emotional level of like a character's kind of point of view level. It's like weird, like reverse Lolita. If you ever read that Nabokov novel about, like he basically writes an entire novel from the point of view of like a pedophile, who like grooms and kidnaps a girl, and like it's written to make him seem like everything he's doing is like very like romantic, and that's kind of like Abbott's book is almost like a reverse of that kind of, particularly with some of the stuff between the kidnapped friend and like the guy who kidnaps her.
It just sounds like something that I don't want to read or
No.
ever experience.
But this is it. This is like the real edgelord stuff. It's like reading this kind of stuff. They'd be like, oh, and it's like this is the good. This is the good stuff. For lack of a better word.
I can't wait for Chris to recommend all of these to his manager as a job. Jesus.
The problem is like they'll be like, oh, it's uncomfortable. It's like, so it's like violence is grand, but getting to the mind of a 13-year-old girl who's essentially kind of being groomed, or maybe not actively being groomed, but like passively being groomed, and like having certain ideas and fantasies, and you're like, this is going to go so badly wrong. Because that's the uncomfortable stuff. It's like, oh, someone getting murdered. It's like you can watch fucking. First of all, they're not actually getting murdered. You want to see people come get murders? Go on to fucking Live Leak. It's not that hard to find people being murdered on the internet. At least it wasn't.
Read the goddamn news.
No,
Yeah,
it-
read about
it-
people who
okay,
do like
that's very
Facebook
true.
moderation, and they're like, I never realized there was so much bestiality involving children, and like how like that job drives people like to suicide.
Mm,
Oh well, I feel good.
yeah. hug your son harder.
You ever
Oh.
say that? Because why do I like this stuff? I don't know. Like I just think it's interesting.
I can't fault anybody for finding some interest in that stuff, as long as it's not actual snuff films. I don't know how I feel about that, but
I mean, like it's not that different from what I like Shuzo Oshimi, like way less severe and maybe way less textured, but like Shuzo Oshimi has really uncomfortable storylines and really kind of weird characters interacting, and
mhm.
Yeah, but he's not good at it. Well, at least the teenage stuff, he's not good at it. Maybe Blood and Tracks is an exception. Like Megan Abbott in that one book, I'd say wipes the floor with Usha Oshimi.
Yeah. I'm like, let's just listen to you talk about it. Those seem like kind of like on another league in a sense, but it's not that different from Dan. Shuzo Oshimi is a pretty mainstream like mangaka, as far as like seinen stuff goes.
Mhm.
The checkers, there you go. Look up Live at the Deck Factory. To be fair, it's not like it's like they're holding his over cover in Scum Cinema. And to be fair, it's not all like some of it was like this random unknown movie called like In the Dark that they actually thought was very good, and it was only up on YouTube. And I think the person who like even directed the movie commented on the podcast because it like led to people looking it up. It's like this early 2000s like POV movie. Let's talk about this movie called Megan's and Missing, and that one they're very critical of in terms of what it's about and how it's done. They also covered what's that thing with the clown murderer guy?
Oh, the Terrifier.
Yes, I think
yeah.
the Terrifier episode.
Yeah. Archie, something the clown. Yeah.
Oh, Art the Clown. Yes.
Art the Clown. Yeah, Art the Clown. Surprisingly, he's become like kind of iconic really quickly. Like I kind of felt like there was never going to be any more like famous horror movie icons, and he kind of just became one all of a sudden.
I think they end up talking about some of this stuff actually on that podcast. Right, I'm just going to see what else at Live at the Deck Factory talk about.
Let's look at some live leak links and just post them.
Jesus.
Like
I
said, not that hard to find.
I mean, I was going to say it is October. This is the month of Halloween, but
Halloween.
truly terrifying stuff.
Yeah, Halloween's usually like fun, scary, and not like, ooh, let me stare off into the distance, scary.
Mm-hmm.
That's my kind of scary. Well, actually, to be fair, I like fun scary, but I really like the. Is there anything they talked about? Oh, it's not actually. To be fair, to say the Live Delivery, I think they were the people who actually covered Pinda's Fern. Pinda, Pends Fern, or Finn. Pinda's Finn. You can actually watch it on YouTube, but it's like this movie from like the 1980s. It was like a British made-for-TV movie. I wouldn't say it's all that disturbing, but it is like very critical of a lot of stuff in British society at the time. Just so like to say not everything they covered is like, oh, it's all real fucked up stuff. It's all quite all worth listening to. They're fairly good about it. And actually, it was actually, I think, one of the people on it, she's an author, and I think she mentioned actually Megan Abbott. I think she might even mention the specific book. I think that's how I ended up like hearing about her. Yeah, I could probably come up with more stuff if he wants to. But like you said, a lot of it's going to be like disturbing in the sense of like bleak about like how certain people get treated in society at certain periods of history, or even to this present day. It's not like fun violence.
I totally
Here's the effect
understand
of
what you mean
fascism
by
on
fun
Spain.
violence. Yeah.
Through how children are like maybe reenact horrific violence on other children and people.
Oof.
That's In a Glass Cage. Great movie. Or in a bird cage. Glass cage, I think.
Okay, I think we'll wrap up the discussion here. One final thing I will say, Kristen's email said like dumb etchy crap or stuff like Dark Gathering. I just want to clarify, Dark Gathering is a fairly decent horror manga series and anime. My wife likes it.
And dumb edgy crap is fairly decent. Dumb edgy crap. I'll just have you know.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, what was that one? PTSD Radio.
I remember that, yeah.
I think I read
like
more
that
of
one.
that. That was very good.
That wasn't so fucked up, or anything. It was just kind of spooky.
Oh yeah, because Holiday was like fucked up stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Junji Ito doesn't really fall under fucked
No.
up things. Either
Oh,
that or like we're all numb to it.
I would say Noroi the Curse. Noroi the Curse, Japanese film.
I remember people coming into Comicopia and being like, "Oh man, Uzumaki, that was really crazy. It really screwed me up, man." And I'm like, "You are. You haven't even begun."
To
This
be
is-
fair,
This is like,
there are placenta flowers and like
okay, it's weird, right? But like, I feel like in as you can get weirder in manga. Junji Ito is like pretty. I don't know that conservative is the word, but like, or not even tame, but like, here he is.
Lightning Bolt's really happy in the chat right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
He wanted more Aubrey.
More baby.
More baby.
Aubrey, what, are you singing? No? Aubrey, did you have a good day? Yeah. You talk to me now, or you could be quiet now?
Quiet.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
there you
great.
go. He's 2. He has limited vocabulary, but all of it's funny.
Pretty cute.
Don says in the chat, Noroi is a great movie.
Actually, no, I should say because I'm going to go see it in cinema in like 2 weeks. There's a movie called Cure. Again, not particularly violent. It's about a guy who can effectively hypnotize people into murdering people.
Oh yes, I saw most of that movie.
Oh yeah, I streamed it. But again, a movie that implies a lot about society.
That's a very not like a fucked up movie. Unless it gets under your skin, it's a very foreboding and like creepy movie, and it's just kind of like a not like traditional horror straight up like somebody's gonna slash you. It's like, like societal horror, I guess.
Yeah.
We live in a society horror.
I
I
mean,
think it's
that
more
sounds like reality.
how easy it is for you to end up slashing someone else.
Cool. Okay, let's end this email before I get more uncomfortable. Thank you for your email, Chris. You can send us emails over to mangamachinations@gmail.com, and we will read them. Okay, let's move along to some what you been reading. Okay, I want to start with Morgana. Morgana, I know you took a trip today. I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
talk about that.
Oh, we just, I broke my cardinal rule of never going into Salem in October. A friend of mine, her mom was doing a performance at this Halloween thing, so we went. This is a best friend of mine from high school. Aubrey, did you have fun today in Salem? Did you have fun in Salem? Silence. He has diaper rash, so I'm not sure how much fun he had, to be honest.
Oh.
Monster, yeah. Um, yeah, it was fun, but driving into Salem in October is a fool's errand. There is so much traffic, and all the parking is expensive, and it's just something that being somebody who lives in Massachusetts and who's been to Salem many times at this point, I just avoid it usually. I go in September, I go in November, I do not go in October. That is my advice. If you want to go, you should go to Salem. It's a really cool place. Don't go in October. Everybody's going crazy about witches at that point. They're all there. So much tourism. I did watch something yesterday I want to talk about though.
Ooh.
For movie night, we watched E.T., the extraterrestrial, which I think I watched when I was a kid, but I don't remember because it would have been at least 30 years ago at this point. I also didn't realize how old it was. For some reason, I thought it was like early 90s, but it's actually 82. But it was great fun. I mean, I hadn't seen it in a very long time. The kids loved it. My daughter really loved it. It's one of those films where, like, I mean, I've said this before of older films, and this is Steven Spielberg. And, I feel like, Spielberg is pretty mainstream. He's pretty well known. And sometimes I just ignore, if his name comes up, I'm like, yeah, of course, Spielberg, whatever. He's a good director. There's a reason. There's a reason he's famous.
Yeah, probably like the single most famous, like the director, probably.
Yeah, and
At least he was.
Yeah, and watching this, it was just like, oh, I get it. The first like 15 minutes of the film is no dialogue, and my kids were fixated. Like they were so into it. My kids are 2 and 5. They are not good at sitting still and paying attention. Do you know what I mean? Did you like the Alien movie, Aubrey? Did you like E.T.? Last night he was going around going, E.T. phone home, right?
Yep, I'm always had that effect on people.
Yes. But it was really
So
good.
cute.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's just like, I don't know. There were a lot of shots that were really cool. And there's the iconic ones. E.T. phone home. Yeah. There are a lot of the iconic shots like the riding across the moon on the bicycle, whatever. But like, I don't know, some just like lots of silhouettes that were really cool, or like shots that were really, I don't know. I feel like I don't see really creative shots in mainstream film anymore. And I think E.T. was pretty mainstream. It was, they're making all. Thank you, buddy. Yes, sorry. They're making all these references to Star Wars. I mean, this was a film meant for kids of the 80s, right?
Mhm.
But it was so, that didn't stop it from being artsy in its way. Like being intentional about its shots and its script and its, what it's trying to do and convey. There's this whole shot where Elliot is like talking, so they think ET has died, and he's talking to Elliot, or he's talking to ET through this, like, ET is in a freeze chamber, like a chest, basically, and there's like a window, and Elliot is talking to ET through the window, like he's framed in this circle instead. It's just like, I don't know. It's like little things that seem really intentional. Like there's a lot of thought about the framing, whereas I feel like a lot of the, again, mainstream film I see, entertainment value is fine. They're fun. They're not, but they're not. They're efficient. They're like we shoot exactly what we see. We don't take time to establish the shot. I'm sorry about all the chatter in the background.
It's all good.
So yeah, this is just me being on my soapbox about how old movies are better than new movies, and I should probably shut up and stop being old now.
You're the youngest one here.
I know.
Oh, I was muted by accident. There was a reason. Like there's a reason why a lot of like movie heads end up saying like talking like that, right? Whereas like movies, used to be good, blah blah. But like it's not that they used to be good. It's just that like, some of the bigger movies like E.T. was a movie for kids and a movie for family. But like you said, it didn't skimp on like the filmmaking. It didn't skimp on like cinematography and stuff like this. Where like, nowadays, like some of the bigger movies, like a Marvel movie is a movie for kids and a movie for families. And
No, a Marvel movie is a piece of IP and content to generate profit.
That's the other thing is, and arguably so is E.T. I mean, again, they made constant references to Star Wars throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, but the difference there is like Spielberg had a degree of greater control that like no one making a Marvel movie is allowed to have.
That's true.
Because it's essentially production assembly movies.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Did you know that E.T. is probably the reason Reese's Pieces still exists?
The only reason?
Apparently, Spielberg wanted to use M&Ms, and Mars was like, "Nah, it's cool." So I don't know. Mars is probably kicking themselves to this day for not putting their candy in ET. I would be. I'd be like, cool. Well, but yeah, they use Reese's Pieces, and now Reese's Pieces. I don't think they were doing very well at the time as a candy because they were again competing with like M&Ms.
Do you think the product placement of Reese's Pieces is well done in ET?
I don't think so. I don't think there are a few products that are in the movie, and you see them by their label. There's like Coors beer and stuff like that. I don't feel like any of it is like, here, take a look at this. I just feel like he
They're
used
not
Reese's
blatant
right. Like,
now.
What is something a 10 or 11-year-old boy would have that he could lure an alien into his home with? Candy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to use a name brand candy because it's not like, they want to convey that this is a normal kind of modern household that has normal modern stuff.
So very funny how like that has changed.
Yeah, no, it did not. I mean, there was Coke too. I mean, it's in the script. Elliot is telling E.T. about Coke, and he picks up a Coke bottle, but it's like, or a Coke can. He's like, "This is Coke. We drink it," and it's like, but yeah, an average 10-year-old in 1982 drinks Coke. This is like, I don't know. It didn't.
Normal.
Yeah, it didn't feel. It felt pretty cohesive.
He's not good. Oh, Coke is great, isn't it, E.T.? E.T., you seem down. How about some Coke? I think that would really help right now. You know what we need? We need Coke. And
right,
just start snorting the line.
It's not like that new like War of the Worlds movie with Ice-T talking about like how Amazon drone deliveries is a crucial plot point.
That movie's a big mess.
Yep. Most movies now are.
Yeah, it needs to be done tasteful. Like McDonald's and Johnny Toe hot movies. Where it's like, wait, there's always a McDonald's in the background, and they're always drinking San Miguel. Not always drinking San Miguel, but I question how much San Miguel is actually drunk in Hong Kong.
Lightning Ball and Chat would like to point out that only nobody does product placement as good as. I'm gonna read this wrong. Cerveza Cristal. Is that how you pronounce it?
Cerveza Cristal. It's like that.
Thank you. That's why I keep Dora around.
Very good.
Is that it about E.T. Morgana?
Yeah, it was good and enjoyable, and I'm glad we watched it. It was kind of different than I expected. Again, I probably watched it like when I was 5. I don't remember. But yeah, I was like, man, it's a good movie.
I've also watched it when I was like 5, and everything else I've gotten to cultural osmosis.
Right.
The things I remember the most is when the government shows up. That part was scary.
Mm-hmm.
And also in the very beginning, like they're like brothers, right? Like he has a bunch of big brothers or something.
He has a big brother and a little sister, played by Drew Barrymore.
All right.
She's so cute. And then his brother has a bunch of friends who in the beginning are all sitting around the kitchen table playing D&D. And we're watching this, and my husband goes, so in the treatment for Stranger Things, they just took shots of this exact scene.
Yeah, probably.
I was like, yeah, this and the scene where all the boys are like riding bicycles.
Yes. There's a scene where like somebody drops a pizza outside.
Yeah, Elliot.
And one of the bigger kids just opens it up and takes the pizza off the floor and eats a slice. And that I never forget that because I was like, "How you gonna eat something out the floor?" Like my mom would slap me if I did that.
He doesn't eat it. He picks it up and he's like, "Oh, great!" It's because it's been like smushed, and then they leave it there.
Oh, he doesn't eat it. Okay. So I apologize to him.
Are you saying your mother doesn't keep the floor clean enough to eat off of?
Yes.
I would say if I said that now, my mother wouldn't be happy.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure my mother would say that. My mother would like, "No, you clean off that floor."
Okay, I wanted to ask Morgana about the Yen Press announcements that are happening at New York Comic Con this weekend.
Oh yes.
You said you were excited for something. Was it Void number 9?
No.
Okay, that's
I'm
Shima
wondering.
Shinya, so I thought.
That's also cool. No, I don't know. Have we done our announcements yet, or are we doing them tomorrow?
I believe they just happened today.
Today we have an industry panel. I don't keep pay attention to these things.
Don't get baited by Dog Suit to give us a word exclusive right now.
I'm checking the Twitter. Let's see. We got on Yen Press's Twitter account, Redeem, Only One Forever. We also have Shanti. We have 4 in Love. There's also Love from the Tip of the Tongue. My Lover is Just Too Innocent to Handle. Clumsy Kiss. Kuro. My Super Cute Black Mage. Merit and the Egyptian God. You Can't Escape Mizudako-chan. Oh, wow. I saw the cover for that one.
Yep.
I was like,
I just cataloged a bunch of these. It's Kuro actually is the one I was excited about.
okay.
This is a manga that I read ages ago online about a young girl who loses her pet cat and finds a new pet black cat. But this pet black cat is not actually a cat, it's some kind of monster. Like
Oh, we read
eldritch.
this on the podcast.
Did you read it on the podcast?
Yeah, I don't know if you are here yet. Or
No,
not.
I don't think so. I read this like the year I graduated from college. Like it's been a very long time. And I loved it. I loved it so much that I had a phone case of this stupid monster cat for the longest time. So I was pretty thrilled when I saw this in our database, and I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
Oh, okay. You brought this up during Fantasy Magazine.
Oh, that's yeah. Well, anyway, we're publishing it. I'm very excited. Yeah, it's just one of those kinds of things. In some ways, it's also a little bit disturbing. I don't think it's disturbing to the level that Chris is looking for his friends and coworkers, but it's kind of, you know, this monster cat is kind of trying to eat this little girl the whole time, and the little girl's like, "It's my sweet little kitty." I love it. I love it a lot. So, yeah. I'm also excited about Merit and the Egyptian God. It looks like a fun, silly, kind of historical rom-com type thing. I kind of think it's going to be very similar to Lord Hades' Ruthless Marriage.
Nice.
So yeah.
Don in chat is excited about the Delicious in Dungeon board game.
Yes, that's also an exciting one. My understanding is it's a bit more of a like we're billing it as a board game, but it's like a more of a card kind of game, but not like a I don't know, not like a Yu-Gi-Oh type of card game, but like
Not like a
use
TCG.
cards and yeah, not like a trading card game. Everything in the box, everything comes with it is what you need for the game. So I'm excited to learn more about it. I know only a little bit, so I'm excited for it.
Very cool.
Oh, one more thing for Chris, because I'm actually going to see this after we do this podcast. Perfect Blue.
Jeez. Wait, what?
There's a 4K.
Oh,
yeah, it turns out that there's like a 4K new version of Perfect Blue that G Kids have out in cinema, including here in Chicago.
That's a good movie.
You know, speaking of New York Comic Con, Dark Fox,
Hey,
they had that teaser trailer for the new Trigun.
yes,
I assume you saw it. Do you have some
I did.
thoughts?
No, I'm excited for it. It's fun to see certain elements from the manga that was never in the anime, such as like the hair stuff. Think you know what I'm referencing? Maybe. I know it's been a while since you read Dragon. But they call attention to his hair in it, and there's like
Oh, okay, yeah. I
there's
was
a,
like, who's there?
there's a Vash's hair. Yeah, there's like a plot mechanic that deals with like Vash's hair specifically.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
and it was always something I really liked in the manga because there's always like this like constant reminder, kind of like a somber thing. At least I always saw it as like a somber thing in the manga. So it's cool that the animus is going to get to do some of that, and I'm interested to see how they pull it off. Millie is in there. If you remember, Millie was the post-credit tease for the first season, which is a
Yes.
huge turn off for a lot of people who are like, "Oh, cool, a new Dragon. We get to see Vash, Wolfwood, Meryl, Millie." No, not Millie. Everybody but Millie's in that one. But they finally brought her back, and she looks great. Like they showed like a brief action scene where she's like using her big stun Gatling gun thing. That gun makes no sense.
They thinned her up. She's still tall, but
Yeah, I mean, like it's always kind of vague how big she was.
Just wearing that big jacket. thing.
Yeah. She was never wearing like tight fitting clothes, and this time she's wearing like kind of like tight slacks and like a I don't know what like a dress shirt. You know, kind of like office wear, right? It was essentially what they are, right? Or at least essentially what they were before when they were insurance agents, but now they're Mero was a reporter in in season one, so I assume Millie's also going to be a reporter because she's calling her senpai like usual. So now they're reporters. So yeah, she's like she's looking like thinner, but like she's still like huge. She's like really tall. Um, but yeah, I wasn't like the biggest fan of Stampede, but I did like it a lot. And I was just happy to have anything new Trigun. So I'm pretty excited for season 2.
am I mistaken? I thought there's a antagonist that plays the sax.
Yes,
And I thought
Mid
he was
Valley the Horn
from
Freak.
Wasn't he from Trigun, and not Trigun Maximum?
Oh yeah, no, I think he appeared in I think he appeared in the original Trigun run.
Yeah, and not in Maximum, but it seemed like they had the Doll Master from Maximum. So I was like, are they combining those things?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like he appears in both of them. The Mid Valley the Horn Freak.
Was he in Maximum?
Yeah. He
Okay.
was one of the characters. I guess I shouldn't say because it might be spoilers, but like there ends up being a relatively large amount of politicking amongst the gung ho guns in the manga. That's the kind of thing that the original anime series completely cut out or did not do, which made it a lot simpler. But the plot becomes a lot more convoluted because there's a lot more characters in the manga with like they have alliances, but it's not like they're all devoted to knives. Like in the anime, they made it seem like, oh, we worship knives or we follow him or else he kills us. But like in the manga, it's a lot more complicated. Everybody has like their own reason to be like following knives. And he was a big part of that. There was a lot of like kind of politicking and stuff happening with the gung ho guns. So I assume they're gonna bring some of that in here. And I'm so bad. I don't remember if Legato was in season 1. I don't think he was. Was he? Because they showed Legato as well, and he didn't look familiar. So,
No,
so
he
like,
was not in. I don't think he was in Stampede.
Yeah, so that's also another big, like basically like all the really big things they missed out on Stampede, they're finally wrapping back around and doing. So which is exciting.
I mean, it makes sense because Stampede is about July, and that's technically the prequel stuff.
Yeah, yes and no, but it might end up working out like I forget which is the city he was in when he shot the moon in the original storyline.
Oh, at the end of that,
Because when he shot the moon, he basically goes missing, and then he becomes Erickson. I think that's what his name was.
It showed him as Erickson in this trailer.
Exactly. So I think like July is basically becoming like, as far as the plot structure goes, it's becoming like the second time he shoots his gun, right? Because spoiler alert, Vash has a gigantic like mega like atomic gun that can grow out of him, and he could shoot it, and it's like basically shoots a black hole. And the second time he does it is when he kind of goes into hiding and becomes Erickson. So like it's just kind of mixing some of the storylines into like a different storyline. But
Okay, gotcha.
yeah, I'm excited. It looks good.
Nice.
Orange, doing orange stuff.
Holding off on finishing up Beastars and doing this instead.
Maybe a good thing.
Probably better for them. Since you're talking, Dar, you have anything this week?
Yes, well, I really want to talk about the DanDaDan anime because season 2 wrapped up. And my understanding is season 3 might not be around for a while because season 2 came out pretty quick after season 1, and I think they were kind of working on it together.
It was a 6-month cycle, so yeah.
Yeah, so like I don't think we're gonna get season 3 as quick as we got season 2. So this is all the DanDadan that like the anime watchers are going to get. But I just wanted to bring it up because like it dawned on me as I was watching a lot of season 2. DanDadan, this is gonna sound hyperbolic, but like DanDadan. Last time I talked about DanDadan on the podcast, I talked a lot about like the creepy sexual nature of DanDadan, right? It's a huge criticism of the show, right? And that's still true. And I'm not saying I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But more what I want to talk about is that, and again, this is the part that's going to sound hyperbolic. DanDadan might be like one of the best adaptations I have seen, if not ever, but like in a long time. Because there's a lot of anime that gets that, and there's a lot of anime that elevates the manga material. It's not like
I would say Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer.
DanDadan is one that I really wasn't expected to get elevated. DanDadan was one where like I expected for it not to work as good in anime form, because if you remember early on when we were reading DanDadan, and I mean early when it was only translated in Japanese and Spanish for some reason. I think you asked me to look at it, right? Because it was in Spanish and I could read Spanish. I read Spanish okay, enough to read like a shonen manga, right?
Yeah,
and it was on Manga Plus, and for some reason it wasn't in English, so it's a weird, quirky situation with like, oh, like a new manga, and I guess he was like one of the editors for like Tatsuki Fujimoto,
one of the assistants, yeah.
Oh, assistants. That's what I meant. I said editor, right? Yeah, one of the assistants. So like, okay, I checked it out, and the art and the perspective of the panels were by far the most interesting thing about DanDadan. I like the characters, and I like the base premise of it. The whole like crypto conspiracy, aliens and ghosts. That stuff is really fun. I like that stuff. And I really like Momo and Okarun, right? I really like the main characters. However, the way it would have these really crazy panels where the perspectives were like all the way at the corner and everything was stretched out all the way across the page, it was really out there. And I was like, this will never work in anime. The thing is, those sequences in the manga don't actually work that good in the anime. They're usually kind of throwaway. Sometimes they try to replicate them, sometimes they don't even try to replicate them that much. But the thing that the anime did is that they focus, instead of trying to play catch me up to the manga, they just focus on creating anime specific set pieces that don't exist in the manga in the same way. There's so many things in the anime that are just animated so crazy, and they get like one scene from the manga and they just extrapolate out and they really make it like a nice set piece out of it in the anime, and it's just really impressive. I mean, it's Science Saru, so like it's not that surprising because Science Saru was like that studio created by Masaki Yuasa. I don't think Masaki Yuasa was involved in that at all. I think he had already left by the time. Maybe he was still there by the time they had started doing that season 1, but I have no idea. But like, you know, a lot of the people who work in Science Saru were like, you know, coming off of that lineage, so it makes sense that these people can animate the fuck out of some weird looking shit.
Oh yeah,
but it's just a really, really impressive show, and it just makes it extra sad that it is one of those shows where, like, I mean, for real, like, if I'm if somebody's talking to me, especially if they're not like an anime fan, and they're saying, "Yeah, I've been wanting to watch more anime. What should I watch?" I really want to say DanDaDan, but I cannot tell them without giving them a bunch of disclaimers. In that, the first episode, like a high school girl gets like assaulted by like alien probes in a really suggestive way. It's supposed to be comedy, right? But it's just kind of cringe, right? It's just a huge part of DanDaDan, right? Um,
Yep.
and it's not like it's there every single episode, but it's definitely there every single arc. Every single arc has like a weird, creepy thing in it. At least I think. I didn't think about that statement too much, but like it feels like that. It feels like every single arc there's gonna be like a creepy thing, or at least they find a way to like make the main characters naked in some way, so they're just in their
Yeah.
underwear.
No, you're correct. You're correct.
And you know, like people in their underwear is funny, right? I mean, it's funny when it's Homer Simpson, but when they're like 15-year-old kids or four, I'm not sure how old it's supposed to be, but they're kids, they're in high school. It becomes like, you know, it's like, you know, and there is some complication to it in the sense that like this is theoretically made for kids, written for kids. But I mean, whatever. You know how anime fandom is, and you know how anime fandom skews like older than what the source material is originally written for. So yeah, Bunny Cartoon in the chat saying this stuff is the main reason I have not watched that. Yeah, and that fucking sucked because I know Bunny Cartoon appreciates Science Sorrow, right? So they're getting kept away from a Science Sorrow show because of this stuff. So I'm like, damn, like you know, as much as I just praised it and I said like this is one of the best adaptations I have ever seen, it would have by far been the best adaptation I have ever seen if it somehow didn't do all that. If you know, if they just let's not adapt that part or let's change that, right? But like they really had to change. They had to change so much for it to, because like it's so, you know, it's so endemic to a lot of the scenes and gags in it. But man, like I was watching season 2 and just talk. There's no reason, like I have no urge to talk about like actual the plot points or anything, because like the plot in that isn't deep. It's just the characters and how they figure out the solutions, and then the characters hanging out. That's what's fun about DanDaDan. But like there's a whole extended sequence. A big part of season 2 is that you have the evil eye, which is basically a character possessed by a demon, and the demon is extremely strong, extremely dangerous, and it just wants to wipe out humanity. So you have like all of these characters living like within like in very close proximity, basically just standing watch to make sure this demon doesn't come out and start killing people. And it's just like the characters bouncing off each other, and that's those kind of interactions. And it was just like it was just like a lot of fun, and I really really like those scenes. Also, that has like a lot of like anime references. Towards the end of season 2, they introduce another like main character, another part of the group. I forget what his name is, but funny that I talk about him because he's like his defining feature is that he's like a huge Gundam fanatic. And he's like a painfully awkward nerd. He's a character who he wants to be friends with Okarun, which is like the main character, who's also a nerd. But like instead of going to talk to him and say, "Hey, like, do you like Gundam? I like Gundam," he starts like he tries to like show off his model kits and kind of like put it in the periphery of Okarun's eyesight, so that
He's a
Okarun
proud otaku.
he wants Okarun to be like, "Whoa, is that a model kit? Did you make that? That's great." But Okarun's just like doing his own thing, so he's not gonna pay attention to that. So he's constantly just trying to like hover around Okarun and get his attention and have him like you know, comment on something that says, so he can finally be like, "Oh yeah, so you noticed my cool shit, huh?" Yeah. There's also a really good Ranma reference. I don't remember that being in the manga, but I assume it must have been in the manga. but there's a hot water, cold water, uh, s- there's a hot
Yeah,
water, cold water,
situation.
yeah, hot water, cold water thing in the anime, and then one of the characters just starts singing the Geronimo theme, which just killed me. It was really good.
Yes, I had to pause the anime at that point and then bring up the Ranma OP, which is what the character was singing, to show my wife.
Yeah, yeah, it's just really fun, really playful, really endearing characters. It has that big butt. And by big butt, I mean just the inappropriate sexual stuff with minors.
It's just really a shame because we've talked about this many a time on this podcast where it feels like a legacy thing where, oh, you have to have your female characters sexy. You have to have a sexy factor, an attractive factor. Your manga isn't going to be popular if you don't have like good-looking females. And it's kind of true, and that kind of sucks. I mean, that doesn't kind of suck. It sucks. But the fact that it is kind of true, like, I just have to literally put my blinders on whenever I watch Fire Force and that one female character shows up and all her clothes fall off. Because that's her fucking character trait. That was a written thing. And it's a similar thing in DanDaDan. You know, my wife was kind of like, after that first episode, she's like, I don't know about this stuff. This is like questionable. I said, just try and ignore that part. And then, yeah, we got through it. We continue to ignore those parts. And that's kind of what you have to do. And I totally understand if some people can't ignore that. It puts them off. That's very fair. And it's just a shame, like you said, Dar, because they're missing out on a Science Star show that is doing great, doing some good stuff.
What I would say about what you talk about the legacy thing and like the cold hard reality of you have to make characters sexy to sell, at least to a certain extent, depending on what kind of manga you're making, depending on what kind of audience you want to draw in, right?
If it's in a shonen magazine, they're 100% gonna push you to do something like that.
Yeah. The sad thing about that, and the part that I wish, I mean, I'm not in the manga industry, I'm not at all involved at all. So let me just obviously that's like a no brainer statement. But the thing that I wish I could push and advocate is that Momo in DanDadan is a very like attractive character when she's fully clothed and she has full agency.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be naked to be
Yes.
sexy.
Yeah, she's and don't call the FBI, but she's a very attractive character. You know,
no!
she
no!
she
Dar, what are you saying?
no, but it's to be like her hoop earrings, the way she accessorizes, like her whole deal is that she's kind of like well, is she like a delinquent girl kind of thing? It's like
Yeah, a little bit gyaru.
yeah, she's a little bit gyaru. Like she has tude. She has like 90s tude, right? And she literally fights people and stuff like that, right? Like these are the like the elements of the character that people ultimately like will find like attractive or interesting or you know that's or alluring. What's her, is Aida her name? The pink hair girl?
Yes.
Like her whole deal is she's like a caricature tsundere character kind of where she's like or maybe not tsundere, but like she's very nice, she's prim and proper, but then she's very mean and aggressive to people she doesn't like, right? Again, people love that kind of character. It's that they find that super endearing and super attractive. They don't need to be like in their underwear, right? It's such a very it's so weird because it's such a very narrow view of their own characters. But you know, we can assume all day about manga's intentions or not, and whether or not it's an editor mandate or not, or if just the manga really thinks maybe the manga really loves drawing those scenes. Maybe he just like, yes, this I get to draw another Momo naked scene. Let's go, and he's super excited about it. I have no idea, but it just seems like the way they've created and written those characters, like they really don't need that to be like attractive. And it's just like
I'm gonna say Yuki Nobutatsu does not strike me as like Masamune Shiro, who is literally that guy you're describing.
Yeah,
Mr. Ghost in the Shell is like that's what he does now. So that guy likes drawing sexy women, and you know, good for him.
No, he likes drawing sexy women having sex graphically.
Okay, I wasn't gonna add that part. I figured that was implied, Seamus.
It's a part to distinguish between, like, you know what you're talking about with DanDaDan and like what he's doing. And
I
think
really think the DanDaDan guy.
exhibition of his actual adult stuff is, I think, starting this month in Japan.
Yeah, I believe there's a Masamune Shiro exhibition in Japan, either soon or coming up.
I'll be there definitely. No, I
I
won't.
think Yuki Nobutatsu likes drawing cool, stylish action scenes, and it shows. And those cool perspectives, Dar, that you talked about.
And the last thing I'll say about this, because we talked for a long time, and I got what I wanted to get out of my chest, which is how well it adapts and how well it's animated. But to wrap up like the whole inappropriate stuff, there is an angle of the inappropriate stuff which could work, and I think has worked. I have a friend, and I'm gonna tokenize them, but they're a woman, and they say they started watching DanDaDan because they saw a clip of the Turbo Granny saying, let me
eat your schlong or something.
yeah, let me eat your balls or something like that, right? And she saw like, what the hell was that? I'm gonna watch that, right? So like there is an element of like, WTF, what is this, that works as far as just like, let me hook the reader or the viewer, right? And obviously that's a big part of why Dan does all the pervy stuff. The problem is, why is it doing it like, you know, so many volumes in, so many episodes in, and it's just like, it's just completely unnecessary, and it ends up like kneecapping itself. So whatever.
I feel like generally they have stayed away from that in current chapters. I could be wrong, but I don't recall something really aggressive. No, actually, no. Never mind. Fuck. Okay. Yeah, let's just move along.
Move along.
Seamus, did you have anything you want to talk about? Did you read that Die Dark?
I did not.
Okay.
Oh no, we're doing an episode next week. Yeah, I'll probably have that in volume 5. I can't remember if I read volume 5 before. I think I did, but I forgot. But I was reading volume 5. I'll wait till I finish 6 next week.
Gotcha. Okay, we've been going for a while, so I'm gonna cut the anime that I was gonna talk about. We already talked about DanDaDan and Trigon Stampede, so I'll bring that up next time. I want to quickly talk about a manga called Yasemashou. 40歳漫画家が半年で 15kg 本気マジダイエットした記録 or let's lose weight. A 40-year-old manga artist tries to seriously lose 15 kilograms in half a year.
I know you were like live translating, that's why you had a pause when you were speaking, but when you're like, let's lose weight, I'm like, no fucking way, that's all that title said.
Right?
You paused for like 3 seconds, and I'm like, and like, you said way more than that.
I did. Last time I talked about Domu Kobayashi's sequel to Tabemashou, or Let's Have a Meal. He used to be an assistant for the Kasane manga artist. I keep forgetting. That was Daruma Matsuda. Last week I talked about how he had a food manga series called Mishi ni Shimashou, or Let's Have a Meal. And he recently started a new one that takes place in Shikoku, where my father is from, so that was interesting to read. And I mentioned he did do a manga series about a nonfiction one about him himself losing weight. I'm going to post the sample pages from Bookwalker to Darfox in case he wants to bring that up. But yeah, so him and his editor, this is a manga about him and his editor talking about what to do about this manga.
Sorry, that link does not work. It asked me to re-sign in. Are you sure these are like sample pages?
Try that one.
Okay, what button am I clicking on?
Just click on the cover.
Click on the cover.
Okay, well, Darfox brings that up. So in the beginning of the manga, you see like there's a photo of Doumu Kobayashi, like a photo of him of like before he started the 6-month journey to lose weight. And basically, throughout the 6-month journey, he tries 4 different types of diets. The original plan was to try 6 different types of diets for each month, but that ended up getting a little skewed. So the first diet he tries is, I don't know what the English term is, but it's basically a low carb or no carb diet. But you can have as much like meat and fat as you want. Is that the Atkins diet, basically? But I don't think they call it the Atkins diet anymore because that guy died.
No, so no carbs and high fat is like keto usually.
Okay, so like basically like a keto is what he does. And he notices at the beginning he loses like 10 kilograms. No. What is it? Sorry, I'm flipping through the book just to like check. He ended up losing 5 kilograms, so like around 10 pounds in a month. But so it seems like this is successful, but then like he points out like, oh, I was just starting on my diet. I probably lost a lot of water weight, and also I probably lost a lot of muscle on this. And the one thing he noticed about like doing this like keto diet is because he wasn't taking any carbs and therefore not any sugars, it sucked to draw manga. Like he said, I had no brain power because my brain couldn't handle like it had no sugars to work off of for thought processes. So it's a fun manga where like you can see him break down what he ate every day for his meals, like what his weight was every day. And yeah, I'm just gonna quickly go through the different diets he did. The second diet he tried was a supplement diet. You know those diet pills you see ads for, Dar?
Yeah.
He did it for a month. And like the funny thing about Domo Kobayashi was like, I don't trust this shit at all. This seems like complete bullshit. So he actually like made sure his meals were like chicken, he ate a lot of broccoli, brown rice, natto, and he basically ate that for a month because he just could not trust his process. And just like he suspected, he did not lose that much. But also he pigged out on cheat days. I think he lost like 2 kilograms, which is like a little less than 5 pounds. The next diet he does, Morgana, is a GLP diet. And GLP stands for glucagon-like peptide. It is a shot and a type of medication you use to treat type 2 diabetes and promote weight loss. So he was kind of freaked out about this, but he did it. They're not in those sample pages, sorry, you won't find them. But he did this for a month, and it seriously worked. Like, he was like, oh my god, I really don't feel like eating. It's almost like humans were born without the need to digest any foods. But the problem was, in the middle of this diet, he ended up going to like a event where he chugged a bottle of champagne, and afterwards he got really sick. And then he had no like appetite, so he couldn't eat anything to recover. So it sucked. So he had to force himself. And plus, during that time, his wife had a child, which he didn't like mention at all up to that point in the manga.
Just so, by the way,
that diet kind of ended up failing just because the timing of, his childbirth. He needed to have energy. He needed to eat. He needed to take care of his kid. And then, so the final diet that he does is he signs up for a diet program called Rise App. It's kind of famous in Japan. They take your all, body composition, do a full analysis of your, BMI and everything. And he got a personal trainer, which worked with him. And they ended up doing for 3 months. And he lost a lot of weight. Dar, you may now post the final photo that I sent to you before we started recording.
No spoilers, I had already shown it.
Oh, you already did?
Yeah.
Did you find the one at in the sample pages of like the before?
Yeah,
You
well,
can kinda
yeah,
compare them.
I did. Let me find it again so I could hold on.
Okay, Darwin. Well, Darwin will bring
Blur
that up.
mode on. Because I'm not in the business of showing the whole manga.
So, like Morgana, the diet program was very effective. However, cost wise, it costs like almost $1,000 a month in
Ooh-wee.
USD.
Yeah, you
So
can get it for $500 now in the US.
yeah, so it was like if you're paying that much for a personal trainer and they're like actively tracking everything you're doing, you know, focusing on your exercise plan, working with you, I feel like yes, you will end up losing the weight. And that was
Well,
his ultimate thought. Oh, sorry,
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like every individual person is individual, so what works for one person may or may not work for another. So yes,
That was his thought at the end.
yeah, having a personal trainer who's there to tell you like this, you know, based on all these statistics we have about you in particular, we can work with that, you know.
Mm-hmm. And Domu Kobayashi in the end basically said, in my case, I like having hobbies and I like increasing my hobbies. So I am going to consider weight loss as part of my hobby, as something that I'm interested in doing. And that
That's-
worked for him.
That's the best one.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
So, yeah.
I think I have the before up now. Is this the earliest one?
Yes.
Okay. And then I have Bram. So let's look at the statistics.
Yep, you can see. He took off 18.5 centimeters off of his waist,
Wow.
10 centimeters off of his like thighs. He summed up.
I'm
He
gonna
lost 15 kilograms.
kilometers. I'm gonna do that thing where I complain about like Japan. So like, is the whole idea in the before picture is that him supposed to be like really big, or was he just like, I'm a little out of shape, I want to get thinner? Because like the way he was drawing himself in the manga, it seemed like he was drawing himself like big.
I think that is based on the fact that he used to be like even skinnier than his final form.
Okay. Well, because I like, yeah, he looks thinner here, but like I was like, he does not look big.
Yeah, he
And-
did not look really big to begin with, but I believe like while he was doing his Let's Make a Meal manga, he had gained like I think it was 15 kilograms or like around.
Okay.
It might have been a little bit more. So it was around like 30, 40 pounds.
Which is plenty.
Yeah, it's plenty. Would I call him like, you know, overweight in his starting photos? Not really. Maybe a little chubby. But yeah.
His BMI for after is it says here on the screen, right? 23.9.
He started at 29.8.
So he went down 23, okay.
That LB says that BMI is considered overweight.
That's
Just below obese.
crazy.
I mean, Don said it in the chat earlier. The diet industry is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, you know, full disclosure, my doctor told me to lose a little weight. I had 2 kids. Okay, I gained a lot of weight in that process, shockingly enough, even after the fact. But I think sometimes, she's like, you got to count every calorie, you got to do this and that. I'm like, what if I just like pivot a little and just eat more vegetables and less like dairy fat and not think about it that much? And guess what? It worked. I've lost 10 pounds. I mean, like, and that was 10 pounds that I, again, mostly gained because I had kids. This was not like, I may have lost it anyway. You know what I mean? That may have gone away eventually anyway. But I don't know. I just feel like there are lots of ways to be healthy.
There are. And Lightning Ball just wrote, Morgana, just build muscle. Best way to lose weight. No running required. Listen,
Yeah.
lightning bolt.
That sounds like effort.
Exactly.
I'll
Just get the GLP-2 and that'll do the job.
I'll just eat some kale. It's fine. Like, I like vegetables. I don't actually like kale that much, but you know, I've just pivoted a little. I'm just more conscientious about, you know, not even the ratios. I'm just like, yeah, maybe I'll like not eat as much cheese today. It's fine. I really like cheese. But, I can have less. I won't die if I like, you know. It's so funny. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you have kids. You must have good junk food in the house." My kids, my husband bought a pound of like grape tomatoes, and my daughter decimated it. There were like 6 left in the pound box of tomatoes yesterday after she got home from school. She just ate like the whole thing. It is not a problem to get my kids to eat vegetables, okay? That's not the
great.
issue. That is not the issue here. The issue is that I had 2 children. It's almost like your body changes as you age and do different things with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of it too, is like we have to be okay with our bodies changing. Like I don't need to be young and sexy forever. You know what I mean? I can be old and sexy, it's fine.
The word is
But-
snatched.
My body's gonna change. It's just like you have to change your definitions of what's, what's good, what's fit, what's desirable. And for me, right now, a body that functions is desirable. And that's about the best I can ask for.
Yep. I will say Domo Kobayashi did write an epilogue to this, where he was hovering around this 63 kilogram range, and he was worried that he wouldn't lose his belly, even if he got under 60 kilograms. And so he draws himself eating 900 grams of anko, or sweet red bean, over 2 days. And he has gone a little back up to 68.9 kilograms. That's where the epilogue ends.
I think some red bean. Give me that red bean paste.
Mm-hmm. Sounds delicious.
I had a red bean smoothie a couple weeks ago with
That sounds awesome.
with boba and with like tapioca pearls, and yeah, it was baller. I've been thinking about it ever since.
But there you go. Yasuma Show, the manga. Glad I got to talk about it. Thank you. Let's quickly end what you've been reading, because we've been going for a very long time. I need to use the restroom. Before we get to our main segment, let's talk about next week. Next week, we are off. We're taking a week off. That's what we do now. We take a week off every month. But when we come back, we'll be talking about Buddha Volume 3. So the next volume and the next episode of our Buddha retrospective will be in 2 weeks. Please look forward to that. Okay, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about Buddha Volume 2. Okay, we are back, everybody. It is time to start Episode 2 of our Buddha retrospective. A manga by Osamu Tezuka. Let's see. After our first episode, I put out a call to Aiden Clark, manga letterer, and he's a Tezuka fan, so he came to our rescue, and he got some localization credits. He said that they only show up at Volume 5 of Buddha. But we have translation by Yuji Oniki, production Hiroko Mizuno, Yuka Nagate, Shinobu Sato. Let's see. Aiden said he wagers the Hiroko Mizuno was the primary person doing the lettering from the start, as she still does lettering for Vertical and other Kodansha branches. Thank you, Aiden.
Pays to have all these high-profile connections here.
I know, right? Okay, let me read the copy on the back of this volume. Ancient India vividly comes to life in this multiple award-winning series that has convinced American readers Osamu Tezuka is indeed one of the world's greatest comic masters. In Volume 2, The Four Encounters, the life of young Siddhartha unfolds before our eyes. When the prince comes of age, he will quit his aristocratic life of ease, away from Kapilavastu and down the river. Again, I apologize ahead of time because we are going to butcher these names and their pronunciations, but hey, we will do our best. So yeah, this volume 2 is all about Siddhartha. We are finally following the prince and his childhood, and then when he comes of age, when he becomes a young adult. And then at the end of this volume, he leaves. He steps down from being a prince and becomes a monk. Morgana, did you enjoy the trials and tribulations of Siddhartha, also known as Bad Shit Happens to Women?
Yeah. I have noticed in myself that as I've gotten older, and this has maybe always been a little bit my thinking, but certainly as I've gotten older, I have less and less patience for men who leave all their responsibilities behind to go be holy. I'm just like, dude, the best thing, the most selfless thing you could do is be a good partner and father, okay? Truly. Like, you think too highly of yourself. You're not that important.
Isn't this
But
the guy who founded one of the biggest religions in the world?
yeah, I know that. I know that. But personally, I don't want to follow somebody who's like, I'm going to abandon my son. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Who I named Obstacle.
seriously. And his wife was like, yeah, okay, we'll just do that. I was telling my husband today, I saw on cars sometimes those stickers that say baby on board. I kind of hate those because it implies that you won't hit my car if you know that there's a child on board, as though the other people are not also valuable lives. You know what I mean? But I saw a car that had a sticker that said "financial burden on board," and I was like, "Excuse you." Do not refer to your child as a burden, like in any context. I understand that kids are expensive, but that's gross. That's gross. And that's how I feel about Siddhartha in this book. I mean, okay. Truly, at its core, this is very interesting, very entertaining. I had a lot of fun. I'm just saying, he is scrub.
He is a scrub. He was all like, I can't be tied down with a child. Yet when he's about to leave, his wife is like, but I'm with your child. It's like, motherfucker, you didn't have to get your dick wet, okay? You didn't have to
Right?
have sex with your wife if you really didn't want a child. What the fuck?
He is scrub.
I will say this: I'm not defending Siddhartha.
Yes.
But at a certain point, you just let him go. Like, he clearly doesn't want to be here. He
Yes.
clearly doesn't want to be like a family man. The way I mean, they all have reasons. Like, his wife wants him to be a fucking husband. His dad wants him to be the heir and actually like protect the kingdom or whatever. But like, you can't, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? It's like, he's not going to be any good to you if he stays here.
Yes. No, I absolutely agree that like the circumstances under which he is operating are not in his favor to begin with. Like this is not. I blame him and I don't blame him, right? Like,
I mean, I do blame him because he could just say, he could just say, well, fuck all this prophecy that says I'm going to be the great teacher of the world and save humanity. Like, I actually love my dad and I love my wife. But like, he does get caught up in it. I don't know if that's because of ego or because he has psychic powers, and because he has psychic powers, he can see. I don't know. He's drawn to that kind of stuff. But for me, it's just like it's pretty torturous. Like, a large portion of the book is like, don't go, son, don't go, son, don't go. So I gotta go. Don't go, son, don't go. I gotta go. And that was just it for like 50% of the book. I felt like the huge middle section of the book.
Yeah, you're pretty much right. I just like, I'd forgotten the fact that he had that whole spiel about after he got married to his wife. It's like, no, I won't be tied down. And then he's about to leave, and she's like, "But I have a child." It's like, why did you?
You know how
dumb,
babies are
young-
made, right?
You
Like,
stupid, dumb, young, horny, like male. And again, he's young and dumb, so god damn it. It makes him very unlikable by the time he leaves.
which in some ways is kind of good. I mean, I kind of appreciate seeing a side of a holy man that's like maybe not so flattering.
He wasn't perfect or anything.
Right.
Yeah. And he struggled with this throughout his childhood, like worrying about caste. I don't know if that's like factually true at all. And that's something I wanted to ask Seamus, is like more so than in the first volume, I saw like the clothes people were wearing, the general aesthetics of like this time period. I have no idea if this is accurate or not. I just realized that in the second volume. I was like, I kind of went along with it in the first volume. I just accepted it. But in the second volume, I started thinking, did they really dress like this? Did Tezuka make up shit? I hope he did some research.
Tezuka really wanted to draw that many titties.
Yeah, there's a lot.
No, I do think that there's a certain amount of toplessness in ancient India.
Okay.
I have no idea what the clothes they were wearing back then. All I know is some of the kings would go up on a hill and fuck a horse.
I really love how you have the important information here.
So the reason I know that is because in Irish, supposedly it also happened in Ireland. And this is important because that kind of shows, yes, we're all descended, or like people from like Ireland to India are all descended from the same group. So it's likely that this group thousands of years before, when they were living in what's now Kazakhstan, had their kings go up on a hill and fuck a horse. Like somehow that lasted. Their descendants spread out to like either side of the continent. I actually don't know this have applied to this kingdom in India at this particular time, or Nepal. Actually, I was wrong. I think it's actually Nepal is actually where the Buddha was meant to be born. Yes,
Okay.
that was a ritual.
So with the horse, okay, it was a ritual. I was gonna say, why would they fucking the horse?
Oh,
Well,
it was like when you become king, you fuck the horse. That was
Okay.
like part of the ritual of becoming king. There was something about like you'd let this horse run all around the place that like marked the boundaries of your kingdom. Left it off for a year. I'd have to look it back up. I don't know. Was it the Irish one? The Irish one, I don't know. Was it the same idea in the Irish one? But there was like fucking a horse on a hill.
Can you say no? No thanks.
Then you're not king.
That's fine.
I
don't need to be
I
king.
don't want to ask them.
What's behind this ritual? I haven't read, because like I said, if it's appearing in Ireland like 1500 years ago, and India like 1500 years ago, the origins of that are probably way back, like literally thousands of years before in history. Yeah. I just remember reading that in Indian history. Like, hold on, isn't it the same thing recorded in Irish history? And there's always questions: is it real, or was it like some English guy talking shit? It's like, actually, odds are it could have been real. If they're like, yeah, they were doing that in India as well.
Well, maybe the English guys are talking shit about India too.
No, the records in India are like from old Indian like records.
Okay,
Talking
but
shit
who
about
found
themselves.
them? An English guy?
Yeah.
I don't trust the English.
Interesting tablet full of Sanskrit. Let me just scribble in this horse fucking bit.
Didn't you say last Buddha episode, Seamus, that the people who wrote most about like Siddhartha, like the actual Buddha, it was like hundreds of years afterwards, and they had a lot of disparaging things to say about the other religions and stuff like that?
Well, that's more like, in general. Well, no. First of all, Buddhism wasn't writing about this. This is like actual records from like the kingdoms where they were doing the horse fucking.
Okay.
So come on,
People are weird.
Egyptians like were like, you know what? We're marrying each other. They weren't the only royal family in the world to be like, no, we keep it in the family.
But that, like,
That's the way
I
to do it.
understand. Like, I mean, it's not good, but like I understand why they would do that. Like lineage, you want to keep the lineage pure or whatever. It's stupid, but I get it. I don't understand the fucking horse. That doesn't seem. I don't think you keep the line pure that way. Is all I'm saying.
It's some ritual for kingship. Well, what's behind it? I don't know. How even frequently it happened, I don't know. But it's one of those things where it's like, hold on, where did this come from?
I gotta imagine it's difficult. Like horses are big,
And they might
tall.
break your skull by kicking you or some shit.
Yeah, but
Seriously.
you just drug the horse. Like,
Okay.
Oh,
date
okay.
rape.
Yeah.
Bro.
And then I think they like killed it and ate it. Actually, maybe they were fucking a dead horse. No,
Thi-
you know what? I need to go back and read the stuff again to be like get
Chris.
specifics of it.
Chris, just tell your friends to read history. It's worse.
I was thinking that if you really want to read fucked up stuff, you just read like rituals that people had involving like stuff's bad, right? Let's kill children. That's what we need to do. We're got to the point where we got to start killing children to sacrifice to the gods, or like elaborate torture rituals, or like horrific ways of like who was it? There was some Chinese dynasty, and they were like, if your punishment, it wasn't just to kill you, the severity of the punishment would be like degrees of family relationships. It'd be like your immediate family, next step out, next step out, next step out. So like you committed a serious enough crime, they kill like 500 people because they're all related
Christ.
to you. Yeah,
Damn.
was it? I think it was a particular dynasty did that, or during a particular dynasty. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Chris. You want to read fucked up stuff? Just start reading history. Reading what they're getting up into Iceland that led them being like, you know what? Let's get a king of Norway to rule us because we are just murdering each other all over the place. Because we have laws without actual ways of enforcing them. We're just caught in the cycles of violence.
Interesting.
They were an anarchical society in the sense of there was laws but no government. And part of their laws were vengeance, and killing other people in vengeance was allowed. Which means you just got like an endless cycle of like generation of people murdering each other.
Wow.
This is what you brought up when we talked about Vinland Saga.
Yes.
It really was
To be fair,
an eye for an eye makes the world blind.
Well, see, what you do is you didn't accept money or land or women through like a trusted third party. That wasn't really working out for him. That's how you're meant to resolve it. That's what the Were Guild is for, the blood money.
I feel like Investor Z sneaking up behind us now.
Well, why Investor Z?
Because money? Like instead
but
of like
Money
murder-
made everything better.
It was like Were Guild, was what it was in England. But like money in the sense of like gold, but it could be like cattle if you're in Ireland or whatever, like valuables basically, land. Maybe it's like a marriage alliance.
Commerce.
Some form of exchange. Like this person's life, this is the value we put in it. So that we don't, start killing your people and we just like end it all now. Problem is like, okay, now we're like way off the topic. I was gonna say start talking about like how it worked in like what's now Northwest Frontiers, Pakistan, but back to Buddha.
I mean, I can bring it back. You said exchange, and apart, like besides like the Siddhartha's like childhood and young adulthood here, there is a good part about Kosala and the king there. They're from they're the kingdom from Volume 1. We even encounter a young adult Tata who's grown up. He still has the ability to switch to animals. His goal is to influence Siddhartha to become a mighty king and then seek revenge on Kosala. But even here, like, Kosala is invading Siddhartha's kingdom and they want to take it over. And they wish to have what do they say, a queen? Or Siddhartha's family's royalty or something? They trick the king instead with just a servant woman who ends up giving birth to his child. Virduka, I believe, and they at the end of that chapter, Tezuka says that when the prince grows up, he will learn that his mother was not royalty but a slave, and his hate for the Shakya, which is Siddhartha's people, will become bad. So that prince is going to be a character in the end. And also, like, even at the end of this volume, the initial antagonist that we had, Bandaka, He's the one who had the competition against Chopra in Volume 1. He ends up temporarily becoming the king of the chakras and then immediately getting killed.
In like a gruesome way.
Oh yeah, he gets speared through the face.
Like in his mouth.
Uh-huh.
That was shocking a little bit, I have to say.
Yep. But he left behind his son, Devadatta, who will become a arch rival to Siddhartha. In the we're actually going to learn a bit about him in the next volume as well.
It's weird how they set up 2 enemies for Siddhartha, like you just mentioned.
Holy men make a lot of enemies.
Yeah, or where's all the love and peace?
I mean, I think Tezuka does a good job, whether these people were actually, like, known in history to be, like, rivals to Buddha or whatever, but it just, for a story perspective, it makes it pretty interesting to know that there's going to be trouble down the line. Since, we know that this manga is about Buddha, and Siddhartha will eventually become Buddha. Yeah, Dar, what did you think of, like, the stuff here with young Siddhartha?
I thought it was very interesting. I liked it. Again, it continued on the whole Osamu Tezuka period piece vibes. As I said last time we talked about Buddha, it reminds me a lot of Phoenix. A lot of stories in Phoenix that take place in the past, and just the general amount of suffering and how life is so cheap back then, and the kind of twists and turns of life. And just like unexpected fates of people. I like it. It's cool. I think I don't know. I guess I'm kind of conflicted on Siddhartha because it's not like I dislike him, but in general, he isn't like the most likable character. Um, there's too much like prophecy surrounding him, right? And like I like the bit where he's meditating outside and fasting or whatever, and then you have like the different Brahmin,
Yes, the monks come
yeah,
and challenge him.
and then the last one was like, okay, hold on, you're actually interesting. Let's rap, let's talk, and like they immediately gain some kinship there. So like I like those bits of him. I guess the bits where he's actually like displaying some sort of like psychic prowess or something like that, as opposed to just kind of whining and just wanting to run away or whatever. But yeah, I'll be very interested to see like where it goes from here, because like early on he was mostly like a normal kid. He was just kind of quirky, and they say he was like weak. He gets sick very easily.
Yeah,
but
he'd throw up a lot.
But when he was like on that brief adventure with Tata, and he meets that bandit girl, I forget what her name was.
Magaila, I think.
Yeah,
Magaila, yeah.
like he was like really into her, but then that just kind of goes away. And she gets like blinded and scarred, which again is very like very cruel. Life is cheap in this era and stuff like that. But then he kind of like stops messaging, like mentioning her after a while. Like he kind of like loses his interest in women almost. Although
He was
I
like
guess
12.
yeah, I guess he did. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the timeline of the volume, I didn't follow too well because yeah, a lot of time did pass. He grew up, but overall, like I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. We're starting to see like little traces of Siddhartha being like knowledgeable, having the wisdom, like when he faces off against those other monks. But in general, like Volume 2 it's like the story of him growing up as a prince and like being disillusioned with that lifestyle. Like he sees the suffering in the world. Like this volume is it's titled The Four Encounters, and I believe, Seamus, you can correct me, but this is like a famous story of young Siddhartha where he witnessed four different people: the old man, the sick person, the dead person, and then finally the monk, which basically makes him like understand that, oh, my path must be to become a monk.
I also, and this is probably a problem I have with Buddhism, but I don't know enough about Buddhism to know this. He's so afraid of death. And that is like the thesis of his, like, because the monk is like, choose the path that is most appealing to you, and one of them is like death, and he's like, I definitely don't want that. And I'm like, I have a problem with the framing of death, especially in a spiritual context, as being a bad thing. So his like complete rejection of the fact that humans must die is so fascinating to me, because I think of a lot of major religions, the whole idea is if you perform a certain way in life, you will be granted something in death, right? So it's meant to alleviate the fear of death.
And also
But
encourage you to act in a way that they approve of.
right. But he's just like, nope, dying is bad. Dying is terrible. I have a whole lot of death anxiety, and I am going to make that my main like quest is to, because basically he transcends the whole thing, right? He like, I don't know, isn't Nirvana, I don't know. I don't know enough about Buddhism to be talking about this with authority. I just know that I think it's kind of weird that he's really hung up on this very basic and important aspect of being human, which is eventually dying.
I think that's fair, Morgana, but also keep that in the back of your mind as we keep reading. And we've reached that point in this story where he achieves like nirvana.
Super
See
Saiyan.
how see how like maybe it was done on purpose to juxtapose like how he's gonna feel later.
He's like, I love death.
Don't forget, it was a very short episode, but after Migaila gets blinded, she becomes Tata's wife, and Tata becomes like a bandit. There's a part where they meet a young monk named Deppa, and Migaila challenges him. If you like are into suffering, then poke your eye out, and he does with like a burning stick and blinds himself. They end up like Deppa's master is Naradatta from Volume 1. Remember him, Morgana?
I do.
He was the Brahmin who asked Tata to deliver a message, and then he was punished. He got a solution to save Chapra, and then he had to live the rest of his life as a beast, and that is what he's doing. And Deppa says something very interesting. Why do humans exist? So that they may suffer! When I read that line, Darfox, I just heard it in my voice. As, whatchamacallit from Metal Gear Solid 5.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
Yeah. What's that guy's name again?
Kazuhiro Miller.
Yes, Master Miller.
Master Miller.
Interesting enough, like, at the end of Volume 3, they say that Siddhartha is going to meet up with Deppa. And so, the next volume of this, we're going to see Siddhartha travel with Deppa, and how they will work together or work against each other in a lot of ways.
Against each other? What?
I think Migaila probably made the better choice of husband in Tata. I'm not sure Siddhartha. We know Siddhartha is not good husband material.
He's the world's husband. He's everybody's husband.
I'd like a divorce. I feel bad. I don't really want to shit all over Siddhartha and Buddhism. Like it's not,
Yeah, he's
I
Buddha.
think it's very understandable given
He's-
his actions in this volume.
Yeah, he's not presented very flattering, which again I kind of appreciate because I do like the humanization of holy people. Like I like it anytime Christianity does it, which is not often. I like more human stories about Jesus Christ, right? So, I do appreciate that. It doesn't help that we saw Siddhartha through the teenage years, which are challenging.
Yep.
One thing I will say, I put up an example of a page that I liked. As it's like it's pretty dynamic. It's a lot of like interesting stuff to look at. But overall, there wasn't a lot of playfulness with like breaking the fourth wall in this volume. It stayed pretty straightforward. There was like I saw like a brief cameo of Osamu Tezuka. He self-inserted as somebody who was like, I forget what they were doing. They're like bowing down or something.
No. Okay, that was a good joke because it's a little bit of a time skip, and it's when I just described that Deppa character, and you find out that Migaila, after she got blinded, is now like a wife of Tata, and they're bandits. And these bandits hold up a merchant and offer him like a bowl of soup made from Sudra leftovers. Of course, the monk is like, the merchant is very like offended. He's like, I won't eat this. It's gross. It's for slaves. And so they cut him down and they steal everything. And then the bandits tell the slaves, as for you slaves, we declare you free. Get yourselves gone. And then the slaves are like, they're bowing. And among them is Tezuka Osamu, basically representing himself as a slave, which I thought was funny.
A slave to manga.
Good old self-deprecating artist.
I did like scene where I think Yashodhara is Siddhartha's wife.
I believe so, yes.
She has the baby, and then she's like, I've had all these awful premonitions about Siddhartha, like something's gonna happen. And her nurse is like, oh, you've just been watching too many horror movies and too much scary television.
Yep. There's subtle stuff like that, but also I feel like a lot of the comedy stuff was reserved for Siddhartha's dad. He was like going Looney Tunes, yelling at Siddhartha, at stuff like that. Or at one point when he introduces like Siddhartha's wife, I think they're on the riverboat or something. Yeah, and then like Siddhartha of course is like, no, I don't want to take a wife. And instead, let's have the competition. Any suitors of hers will come and challenge me, and like if I win, then I'll take her as a wife. And then so the king is like upset, and he's like, oh, then that's that. No, I'm sorry, Siddhartha says then that's that. But the king stomps away, and then he's grabbing like the wife by the head and swinging her around like a ragdoll.
Yes.
Which I both laughed at, and then I also thought, oh, that's kind of a bad, cavemen swinging cave women around as a joke thing.
Buddha, Volume 2. Bad things happen to women.
Mm-hmm.
All the women.
Yeah,
every single one of them.
I like the women characters. I liked Migaila. I kind of like the princess,
Yeah, I like
Siddhartha's
Yashodhara.
wife.
Yeah, I feel bad for her. I feel like she really got the short end of the stick.
Mm-hmm.
She also should have married Tata. I was really proud of her for standing up against Bandaka, though. She was like,
oh, yeah.
"Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm drawing a line." She's pretty strong-willed. I appreciate that.
I like Bandaka being like, you got yourself a good wife there, you fool, crying as he walks away.
I was really kind of pleasantly surprised that he didn't push it further, that he was like, nah, I lost.
Yeah,
That's it.
That scene, like, right before he loses, like, it's kind of implied, and Tezuka does an interesting thing where it's only shots of their feet. Like, when he's in the bedroom, kind of like saying, you're gonna be my wife. It's like his hands, their feet, no body parts. only represented by word bubbles and their limbs. And I kind of appreciated that. It's like, we shouldn't really be watching what's happening because it's not a good thing. Oh man, I saw it earlier in the volume, but there's one thing I wanted to point out here is even in these official, releases, in these volume releases, sometimes manga artists make mistakes. There are errors that they forget about and things that they forget to do. Darfox, can you pull up page 161? It's where the king is introducing Yashodhara to Siddhartha. But in the bottom left of that page, the king is drawn, and they forgot to draw his mustache. So even the god of manga, Osamu Tezuka, and his team sometimes make mistakes that you notice like that. And it's usually things like this about facial hair. Facial hair is like a common overlooked correction that people forget to do in the world of manga.
No, you see, his mustache became those 4 sparks flying out, commonly known as the Tezuka spark mustache.
Dar, someone's gonna listen to this and not realize that you're completely making shit up your ass.
I can only hope. Spreading misinformation on the internet. Ooh.
Seamus, let's talk about the actual volume itself. What did you think about all this stuff with Siddhartha? Did you find any more visual panels that you liked? Vertical panels.
No, but he did a thing here twice where I think one was, I think he's like saying to the wife, like, I'm not going to stay with you. I think the other one was when his kid was like born, where like he kept on narrowing the size of the panels. So it's like, whatever, it was almost like strips. Let me see if I can pull up a page for this. It's towards the second half.
I see when Siddhartha's child was about to be born and it was raining a lot and then the rain stopped and then it, on page 347, turns into 3 very tall vertical panels. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm trying to find it now. I know it happens twice. I'm just trying to find the page.
Oh, 354? They're like diagonal strips?
No, hold on. I'm literally like going from like, I saw this twice. Where is this?
I had the same thing where like I saw something, I was like, I should write this down.
Okay, 259, when it's like the baby's going to sleep. I think the other one is before it.
Oh, the other one
Yes,
is
it
when they
wasn't
met.
dark.
Yeah, and then it ends with like a narrow strip of like Siddhartha's eyes in the dark.
Yes. But actually, the last panel is just totally black. Although that one is like a lot. It's there's more panels, so it's like a more obvious effect, where it just gets narrower and narrower, narrower and narrower vertically, and then narrower and narrower horizontally.
Yeah.
But then actually, the interesting one, the first one, then the next page, it kind of reverses, where it's like a narrower page of the horses galloping, and there's like a bigger panel, but they're like almost at an angle from the page, if that makes sense.
It's almost like Tezuka's doing his own like fade out to black, like you have in a movie or in a transition scene.
Yeah, and then like the next scene is like going up, because then like it's like the next stage is like the panel, and it's like him on the horse, and then the next one it is like almost this like top down view of him like going through the
forest.
Yeah, because I think the one with the baby later on, that's like end of chapter. It's like next chapter. But I thought that transition from like the panel small back, and then like the next panel is like the reverse, where it's like on the feet and kind of going up. That, I don't know, was there a whole lot else? There was a bit where like is when he's transformed into a bird, and there's this like strip of vertical panels in the middle, and like the first two, they're almost like going in closer to like his bird's eye, and then like the second panel is like the bird turning around, and then the next 3 panels, and oh yeah, you're reading them going up the diagonal panel, and it's like it's going back out again as like he's like turning the bird. Again, it was like it was almost like it's like the zoom in and the zoom out. But the way it was done, where it was like a diagonal strip up along. Like he does seem to have like he does like using these like diagonal shaped panels a lot in like interesting ways. I don't know. I thought the first volume there was more stuff that way in terms of that kind of stuff. Or maybe it's just at this stage you're like more used to like some of the stuff he's doing. Because I was going back listening to like because a book club I'm part of here, she normally just reads novels and stuff, but we do like a Japanese literature section, and the guy running it is like, we're going to read volume 4 of the Phoenix. So I went back and I listened to volume 4 of the Phoenix that we did 8 years ago.
What? Which one is that? Is that Space?
No, it's the one about the 2 artists in.
Oh yes,
Karma.
That's the most famous one. That's the one that people are always talking about. Like, this is the best of the Phoenix.
Yeah, I remember at the time. I didn't listen to the rest of the episodes, but I was like, I think I listened to the episode afterwards. And I was bringing up like every volume up in the first 3 volumes seemed to be like some specific art thing he was doing differently. I think we talking about the space one, and then the 4th volume was just a lot of like complicated time travel, jumping around from what we were talking about. I have no memory of any of this manga. I was just listening to like us talk about it 8 years ago. Was there anything else paneling wise that was really interesting? Nah, that was kind of it. To be honest, I was a story and I was just like, because the Megala woman doesn't exist at all in the life of Buddha.
Right, that seemed
and
very
like a
fictional.
lot of the other stuff they're setting up, I'm just like, you're like going further and further away from. To be fair, the life of Buddha, God knows how much truth there is to that. At least like it's closer to like the religious beliefs they were trying to put forward. Or I think he's just going so heavy-handed on we'll give him like a love interest, and she's going to be from like a poor lower-class family. Because I was like, I don't think there's a whole lot in early Buddhism about caste stuff.
So it seems like a central theme for like Osamu Tezuka's Buddha, though.
I think it is for him, but I don't think it is for Buddhism.
Interesting.
I think even for Buddhism, they probably. I'm not too sure. Like I know, as time went on, Buddhism in India adapted aspects of Hinduism, but I don't know. I don't think it was particularly anti-caste. Like I'd say, I don't think they had any particular issues with the caste system.
Well, then good for Osamu Tezuka for putting that in there.
Boo Buddhism.
In fact, you could probably fairly easily incorporate caste system into like the idea of reincarnation. Given that you're going up and down, like, you know, you're born a Brahmin, then that means you did something good in your last life.
Or as Deppa says, that means you suffered enough where like you're rewarded in your next life.
Well, that doesn't really make sense. Well, I guess maybe it's yeah, I guess he doesn't actually have the precepts of Buddhism set up yet.
No, he doesn't. And like Deppa's talking about something else, which we will explore in future volumes of this story.
That's getting into other people he's going to meet who he has religious disagreements with.
So Seamus, are you basically reading Buddha as like more to see what Osamu Tezuka does with the paneling and the way he presents the actual comics than the story itself?
Some of that, the story stuff, it's kind of like I said, historically dubious. I don't think he's a whole lot interested in Buddhism either. I don't know.
There wasn't a part where like Siddhartha stood and challenged 4 monks to psychic battle.
To be honest, that probably like there could
dope.
be that I think that bit where like people come and challenge him. I could say, yeah, I could probably see you could have pulled that out of like some other story of Buddha from somewhere.
Is it the Legend of Kung Fu? And by the way, I read this when I was in high school off of the Jackie Chan biography. So,
authentic source material right here.
Exactly. But the Legend of Kung Fu, if I remember correctly, was that Buddha went up towards like a bunch of like monks, and it was like, no, you can't get in here, go away. And he went up to like the mountain, like the Jason Mounted got in a cave and stared at the cave for like 3 weeks straight until he stared a hole through the cave, and then like the monks were like, "Holy shit, you're like incredible! You gotta teach us how to do that." And that's that's how he basically wrote an exercise plan that was kung fu, like that. So like I don't know how like the historical lineage of how kung fu got wrapped up with Buddha itself, and how exactly like that story became like a thing that Jackie Chan would tell in his biography. But
Is this somehow tied into like connections between like Kung Fu and Shaolin?
yes, yeah, like I believe there are Shaolin monks, the ones that turned them away initially, and then when they saw that he stared a hole through a wall, uh, they he taught them kung fu, basically. Kung fu being like just like exercise for your mind, basically. Strengthen your body so that it could support your mind. It was like the general idea. Because it was like, oh, you guys have 2 weeks to sit in one position and stare at the wall for 3 weeks straight. You gotta do these exercises and do fucking awesome kicks, and then you'll be able to sit and stare at the wall and make a hole in it. But like
That-
yes.
I just, that's such a like, what 10-year-old Chinese kid made that up? You know what I mean? Like that is such a like crazy. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never forgot it, or at least I never forgot the cookie cutter idea of what the anecdote was in the thing. But it's a legend, right? But I was always curious as to like how much of this legend is actually like, how much was this like Jackie Chan's dad told Jackie this when he was a kid, or is this like a thing that people talk about as the origin of kung fu?
Established, yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I'm like, does the Buddha manga ever get to him going to China or anything like that?
Buddha never went to China.
Yeah.
So like
He lives his entire life and dies in northern India. What's now northern India and Nepal?
yeah.
Nepal.
So so where did he stare the hole to the wall then?
Well, like he could have appeared to some monks, like
Like a
There's a lot of, like,
vision.
yeah. There's a lot of like because when Buddhism starts spreading to all these other parts of the world, they all start coming up with their own stories and like their own stories of Buddha that have like nothing to do with the
yeah.
stuff that was in northern India.
Oh yeah,
I wanna-
I saw him at the 7-Eleven.
Right? I want to know what other martial arts he seems to have founded. Like, was he also instrumental in Tai Chi, or is that like, what else? How else can we connect Buddha to something?
That's crazy. I'm gonna go read.
Wait,
go
what
read the
year does
Wikipedia.
this take place? Like historically?
Like Siddhartha?
Yeah, what did they say? 580? What time is this?
It is 9:38 Eastern time.
Damn it, Madar.
Is like 400-500. I guess around
I'm looking it up.
400s, 500s, I think. Wait, hold on,
Okay.
I'm trying to think. No, let me think this through. How does it work?
This has to be BC,
No.
right?
He was born.
BC.
Yeah,
Yes.
it says here on Wikipedia, 563 or 480 BCE. There's a big gap between those two. And died either 483 or 400 BCE at 80 years old.
Okay, hold on. Live Wikipediaing. This might be I might have done more misinformation on the internet. Ooh. It was Bodhidharma, a semi-legendary Buddhist monk who lived during the 5th and 6th century. He is traditionally credited as the transmitter of Chan Buddhism to China. So a Buddha disciple did it, not Buddha himself.
Okay.
Stared the hole to the wall.
Maybe he'll show up in this manga, Dar.
Oh, I'll be excited to see him. And if he's gonna look at the camera and be like, "David, make sure you read that when you're young."
I just want you to know that his spouse and his children are listed, and they are in fact Yashodhara and Rahula. He really that dude really named his kid Obstacle.
Well,
Like,
when
for
people wrote a
reals.
story of his life, they had him name his kid an obstacle. Who knows
Well,
if he
let's
had an actual kid?
see. He did. Well, he has a Wikipedia page.
Well, I'm going to say there's a lot of religious, mythical people who have Wikipedia pages. Only Dharma, like, there's no, like, all these, like, all this early stuff, there's, like, the only sources we have are Buddhist texts. So it's
Right.
like, you know, how much trust you actually put in them.
There
Yeah,
are
there probably was a guy.
there are historians who are trying to figure out when he was born. It does seem like it is accepted that he was a real child. But anyway,
Seamus, did you both like how the Kosala King used to be a pro wrestler? And they literally draw a pro wrestler in a ring,
Yeah.
a masked wrestler. I like that.
My favorite panel, actually, I think I posted it in a Discord, was when the neighboring guy had the son through like
Oh yeah,
the slave.
like the pro wrestler I just talked about. Yeah,
Yeah,
the King
like-
Kosala.
like, and he's like, "Yay, celebration! Everybody celebrate because I have a kid!" And everybody's just like dancing and drinking and eating in the streets and all other stuff too. And there's like a picture of people drinking, and there's like a cat. Instead of with a mug, he has like a fish skeleton, and it's so simple, but it's like my favorite drawing in the whole book.
you want to get Dar, you draw a cat.
Even the cats are on the street celebrating. That's awesome.
Osamu Tezuka cats are better than the Ooku, the Inner Chambers cats.
Oh yeah, that cat was crazy looking.
And, you know, bad things happen to that poor.
Yep.
Yeah, this cat's just living it up. It's an excuse to party when your leader's like happy about some shit, you know.
Dar, can you go to page? It's 282, and they're talking about the bad monsoon that happens. I just really want to point this page out because if you watch the YouTube, you'll see the actual page, but if you're reading along, it's page 282. And there's this amazingly drawn Zong with like
Oops.
that's separated by like the speed lines representing the rain. That's some super impressive relettering.
I wonder what that looks like in the original text, in the original pages.
Well, it probably said za, which is like the Japanese sound effect for like heavy rain. But like, yeah, totally redrawn in English letters ZAW, but all separated perfectly by those speed lines.
Yeah,
And it's an amazing like lettering job.
that there is a lettering job.
Dar, didn't you mention like there was a one of the translations you kind of like had a problem with?
Did I?
I thought you had
last
posted something about.
week. Oh, no, you talking about no when the bad guy Buduka, what was his name again?
Bandaka.
Bandaka.
Bandaka. When he was like peeping at the pregnant wife of Buddha, and he was like, "Man, oh man, she sure looks wifely now." and just saying wifely was just crazy to me.
So he's like, wow, what a big belly she has. And I'm like, I didn't even notice she was visibly pregnant at this juncture.
Yeah.
No,
There's-
she wasn't really drawn that way.
There's like, maybe there's a suggestion of a bump, but also she could just be curvy. Like, there's no baby there. Tezuka, you're a doctor. Surely you know there's not enough room in there for a whole fetus.
Yeah, you know, like Tezuka does sometimes Oh, I guess I'll say often. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but like it's pretty often like make fun out of like big women, right?
Like the woman Bandaka ends up with at the
Ye-
end after he gets rejected.
Yeah, well, which is, you know, like that one is like 40%. Like, okay, like he's not actually like making fun of her that much. Um, you know, like occasionally there's like exceptions to it. Like, when is it Bankei the monk, from the Taira clan? Remember he gets like a wife and she was like a thief. Like sometimes they're an actual character, but like most of the time the actual characters are like the thin kind of like Betty Boop like body types, right? It's and if it's just like a bigger woman, she's like a background gag. And with in the case with the one with Bandaka, she was mostly like a gag, but she's at least a little bit of a character. um and she wasn't really like they definitely made fun of her size, but like they weren't like I think Bandaka was legitimately interested in her, but but mostly she was a convenient person for his plans.
Yep, Tezuka still makes that joke about bouncing her around like a beach ball.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like I mentioned, like with the king taking like Yasudora away, like swinging her by the head. It's just like weird sexist jokes that were appropriate for the time that this came out.
Were they though?
No, they never were, Morgana. You
Like-
know what I mean, though.
Like some woman somewhere was surely like, Osamu, the fuck?
She's like the godfather of manga, my ass. More like sexist of manga.
It's part of the stuff that you just kind of need to, remind yourself this was written back in the day.
Back in the
And
big
that's,
bad 70s.
Yeah, and we've made improvements. Some improvements.
As we've been complaining about
your discussion
DanDaDan.
of DanDaDan.
Yeah.
What improvements?
I said some.
It's just, we can't win.
No, I don't, and I don't think we're gonna, which is unfortunate. But
Yeah, it's just always a bummer because like a lot of times his characters are really like just like interesting looking and stuff like that. And it's just a shame that like almost all like the women characters that are leads all look exactly. I mean, it's like Oda syndrome way back then.
yep.
Eiichiro Oda is what I meant, not Oda Nobunaga syndrome.
Seems like a very different kind of syndrome.
Yeah.
Anything else to mention about this second volume? I feel like we've covered a lot. I guess we didn't really talk about the competition and the match between Migaila and Bandaka.
I really like that section of the manga, and for a brief moment, it felt like Migaila was like the main character, the co-main character, along with Buddha for the volume. But then she just drops off so hard that like it's very disappointing. But yeah, like it's like I was like rooting for her. And then of course she has like a terrible fate, and she understandably becomes like embittered.
Yeah, Siddhartha was not worth her sight, tell you what.
Yeah,
God.
definitely.
He's such a shit.
And he like almost forgets about her. Like at least verbally, he doesn't really talk about her anymore. But I mean, whatever. Even if you were talking about her, like that wouldn't mean much if you just let that happen. And
I mean, he still got married and screwed his wife.
yeah,
Obviously, he's not that broken up.
That part like just fucking killed me, man. I know we mentioned it at the beginning of this discussion, but I don't want to be tied down with a kid. What? You got pregnant from our sex?
Did you miss that day in class? Or
hold on, I gotta say, and this is not an excuse, but this literally happens every single day. It's like people who don't want kids are like, oh shit, we're pregnant. So like,
Sure,
it's
because
just
they're
it's,
like
it's
birth control fails, and they're there are lots of reasons.
or they could they think they can pull out, or there's a bunch of reasons. It's
Well,
just yes.
We need to work on the state of sex education in this country. Let's be honest here. But you would think back in the day when producing an heir is like the main function of royalty, that he might have an idea about how it works.
It's just Buddha's just like us. You know, he's very relatable.
Condom broke.
No, he was using a condom. She poked holes in it, like from a Hong Kong movie from the 80s.
Listen.
Multiple.
Listen, Seamus, you brought up that page with, Siddhartha talking with Yashidara in that garden and how it like fades into like thinner, narrower panels. It ends with his eyes in the dark. On that page, Yashidara does say, "I'll find a way to hold on to you, Siddhartha," but she's crying, because she's being, rejected. I feel like those eyes
So yeah,
in the
she
dark.
poked hole in the condom.
No, I think it's Siddhartha in the dark with those eyes is him being like, well, she is a good-looking woman. I think he's presented there to be nefarious.
Like he couldn't stay away.
Yes.
This holy
Yeah.
man can't resist temptation.
Yes.
Bad
That's the way
bad
I
at his
read it.
job.
He's not holy yet.
He's not the Buddha yet.
But
Okay,
he was
but there's
kind of
like
born right with animals coming to his bedside and shit.
there's like a zillion prophecies about how holy and psychic and crazy he is. I mean,
But,
Yeah.
but not yet. He hasn't achieved enlightenment yet.
Oh right. There's a whole enlightenment thing. I forgot about that lore.
I mean,
It really
yeah,
is like Super Saiyan.
I did say, like, we need to show him, like, suffering and struggling in his youth and being a dumb teen. He's being a dumb teen.
Okay, you know what would
To
really
be fair, in the life of Buddha, he turns down a lot of sex from women. Not the wife, though.
to be fair.
You know what would be really like not what would really make me dislike the character? If at the point where he achieves enlightenment, and I think this was going to happen just the aesthetic of like the idea of enlightenment, I don't really know about, but whatever. At that point, if he's like, I'm above all of this, I'm not going to think about my previous life.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got to let go of all worldly attachments. That's how that works.
Yeah, so like that's gonna make me like him less, right? As opposed to like if he sees enlightenment, it's like, okay, now I can see everything in my life and all the choices I've made that have led to all these follies and all the suffering I've caused, and for him to have just like a psychic view of like all the choices that he's made and stuff like that, that would be like interesting and stuff. But like, yeah, like Morgana, like you said, like I feel like it's gonna be like one of those things like, okay, fresh slate. Now I'm gonna just walk around and tell people what to do. I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna learn a lot on this manga. Yeah.
Based on what you've read of Osamu Tezuka, what we've read here on the podcast, what you've seen,
yeah.
What do you think?
I don't.
Let's be honest.
What do I think? I think people are gonna keep getting fucked up for random reasons, and life is cruel. I don't know.
I feel like that is a good, safe assumption to make. That just because he gets enlightenment doesn't mean everything's going to be hunky-dory and smooth sailing. And besides, Osamu Tezuka already planted that two people are going to, like, be, in his way in the future.
Yeah, but he's Buddha. Like, what can he do? Like, he's like, this is the same guy who had like the Monkey King jump into his palm or some shit, according to some other fucking story that's completely disconnected. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I guess we'll just
something
have
that was
to
written
keep
in another
reading.
country 8,000 years later.
Yeah, exactly. like
Well,
That's
2,000 years later.
that's him. That's the guy we're talking about right now. Like, well, that's like if I tried to fight Jesus. It's like
Yeah, where is the Christian equivalent of Journey to the West?
where
I don't
thought
know.
I thought that's a famous thing in the Bible where, like, after Jesus is born, it just jumps to him being an adult. Like, they don't write about.
So no, okay. I'm gonna drop some lore on you guys.
Oh, shit.
Some Catholic
shit.
lore. There are
Here we
other books. They're not in the biblical canon.
They were taken out.
They were taken out. You can find the Gnostic Gospels. Some of them do go into a little bit of Christ's childhood. There's a book of Judas. There's a book of Mary Magdalene. I don't know how trustworthy the authorship is, but I also don't know how trustworthy the authorship is on like a lot of the Bible, because I don't know. Allegedly, the Gospels were written after Christ's death by his disciples, but again, things written about religious people after they die is a whole can of worms. But yeah, there are things. There are a group of people called the Gnostics who believe that there is more that they essentially there are parts of the life of Christ that are taken out of the biblical canon, partially because they humanize Christ. Is the argument. I think the church's argument would be they were just not relevant. But there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that's probably not completely relevant, to be honest. Like the whole no eating shellfish thing doesn't really apply.
That's the Old Testament.
Sure, but a lot of the Old Testament doesn't really apply to the modern Catholic.
Wasn't the shellfish thing only put in because they were like, people are dying from eating shellfish, so we should just make it so people don't eat shellfish?
Most likely, yeah. I mean, there's a whole other can of worms. Anyway, point is, there are documents that allegedly tell more about Christ's childhood. Again, I don't know how much you want to rely on them as gospel truth, so to speak, but they do exist. They are just not considered part of the biblical canon. So the Catholic Church, at least, and probably other offshoots of Catholicism, other Protestant Christianities, do not recognize them necessarily. It's more eccentric groups of Christians.
What if like the stories are like exactly like the Buddha manga, where he like ran away from his dad who wanted to be a carpenter?
So I've read some of them, some of these Gospels. There is a story in which Christ as a child is discovering the fact that he is both man and God, and therefore has godlike powers, right? And he kills a bird with his powers, he doesn't stone it or anything like that. And kind of understands this is how he comes to understand the gravity of his powers and his ability. I think he may also bring it back to life. Which is relevant later when he does a whole bunch of bringing people back from the dead. That's a thing. Lazarus. But because I think the argument is because that story shows Christ doing something wrong, that is killing, they didn't really want that as part of the biblical canon because
that makes sense.
Yeah. But I do think I mean I like that story because you're like 8 or 9 or whatever, and you're figuring out that you're God for the first time, you're gonna do something crazy, right? Makes sense to me.
But we can't have Jesus, the savior of like our religion, ever doing no wrong, even as a child. So
and that's I think part of the interesting thing about Siddhartha being a teenager in this specific story. I don't know how much of this is true either. How much license Tezuka's taking, which seems like quite a bit. Siddhartha hasn't reached enlightenment, where the assumption in Christianity is that Christ was born pure. He was born without sin. He was born basically enlightened, right? Quote unquote, enlightened already. So that Siddhartha is going through this journey is very different. And obviously, Christianity and Buddhism are very different in a lot of ways. But it's really interesting to see, because I think a lot of people think of these holy men or these people who basically founded whole religions in maybe not the same way, but they hold a similar kind of, status, right? They are beyond men. They are something other, and to humanize them like this could be considered quite I don't know what the word is I'm looking for.
Offensive?
Not offensive.
Sacrilegious.
Not even that. Kind of like avant-garde. Like,
Oh, I see what you mean.
not really. Yeah, like not really. It's going against the grain. I mean, yes, there are absolutely people who would consider this sacrilegious and offensive. I'm not one of them. And I think if you want to draw offense from this, that's a whole. Maybe just like unclench.
Mm-hmm. Lightning Bolt in chat says blasphemous.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there are people who would consider it that. I think it's more, like I said, I like humanizing these people. I like the kind of let's take them down a peg. And it's not to mean that they're not important, but I think sometimes we as humans like to put so much emphasis on individuals and forget kind of the messaging.
People are human.
Yeah.
Not Christ.
Yeah, right. Depending on who you ask, yeah.
Yeah, Morgana, and I'm sure Osama Tezuka thought the same as he was crafting this story. He probably figured it was more interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, what fun would it be to write a story about somebody who's perfect?
Seamus was mentioning like the love story and stuff that he was inserting into this, that this stuff doesn't really seem to be in any other stories about Buddha's life. I guess that's just Osamu Tezuka's formula for period pieces. There's always like somebody falling in love with somebody, chasing somebody, and then like there's some sort of variation of tragedy involved.
Gotta have that human drama.
Yeah. And some of the easiest human drama, and a lot of people can relate to, is romance.
But I fell for it again. I fell for it again award. Put the medal on my chest.
And you will continue to fall for it, as many people will.
He does it for some reason. He does good, and there's something about like the way he takes the time to tell his stories. It's not boring to me for some reason. But he takes the time, like the whole first volume being about Tata and the other fucker, Chopra.
Yeah.
The other fucker.
Oh, there was a lot of F-bombs in this volume. Did you notice that? Like, I didn't notice that many F-bombs in the first volume, but a lot of people say like there was at least like 5 or 6 F-bombs in this volume.
I like the part where they're escaping from the water bandits, and they first run into Migaila because the rest of her bandits got eaten by. Okay, what is it? Is it crocodiles or alligators?
I think it's crocodiles.
Okay.
Crocodiles have the pointy snots.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Star Fox is an expert on
as a person who lives in Florida.
Yeah.
They need some water, right? And so Tata is like, here, we can suck on these stalks. Just slake our thirst. And then Migaila just says, stick these friggin' stalks up your ass, which I laughed at.
Do you know that scene is like how I knew, like, oh, they gonna fuck Migaila and Tata. I'm like, oh no, she's too mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna smooch. It's gonna happen. And look, I was right.
Though it was more of a secondary thing as opposed to her and Siddhartha having a romance.
How do you think Tata feels about being second best?
I don't know. You jump at an animal and run or some shit.
Yeah, I feel like Tata's motivations are too like tied to getting revenge against Kosala. Is there anything else to mention? Because we have been going for quite a long time.
Yeah, I think I talked about everything I wanted. I talked about the cat celebrating.
The most important part.
Yeah.
I guess we didn't talk much about his childhood, though there is a good chunk of that here.
I mean, I liked that. I liked his vision of being a bird. The detail in that story was really, really good.
That was a good part. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, and just like the amount of detail put into every aspect of it, it felt real. It felt like, I was like engrossed while he was telling the story of him being a bird.
What about you, Seamus? Did we miss anything? Anything else to mention?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay, and for you, Morgana, did we mention everything?
Yeah, I think I'm all set.
All right, nice. We'll go ahead and end our episode then. I want to thank Darfox, Morgana, and Seamus for joining me. Reminder that next week we will be taking off, but in 2 weeks we will come back and we'll be talking about the 3rd volume of Buddha. So look forward to that. If you enjoyed our podcast, make sure you subscribe to us, review us, rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you can find us. Check out our website, mangamachinations.com. Our Tumblr is mangamachinations.tumblr.com. Check out our YouTube channels, youtube.com/mangamactv, where there's a live recording of this episode. We also have Mangamac Watches and Nakayoshi Gaming, where Darfox has been playing Silent Hill Elf.
Yes.
Elf? F.
F.
Yeah. Come join our Discord server. Head over to discord.me/mangamac. You can talk to us directly there. Send us emails over to mangamachinations@gmail.com. You can also follow us on social media at Mangamac Podcast. That's Manga MAC Podcast. We're mostly on Blue Sky, but we also use Twitter, Instagram. We have everything else. Or you can follow our individual social media. You can follow me at Doxzu. Follow Darfox at Darfox8. Follow Morgana at Morgana Relina. And follow Seamus at Seamus2389. Remember, Seamus is spelled without an H. Alright, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to us this week. Bye-bye.